Chapter 2636 Skip Grades 4. Chapter 2636 Skip Grades 4. Mr. Een cried out, "Stop!" Mr. Gongsun was about to intervene, when Feng Wu dodged the attack. She moved so fast that there was an afterimage in the air. Shan Jingfei was furious after she missed. How dare Feng Wu try to evade? However, Feng Wu took out her weapon before Shan Jingfei could do anything. No one knew how she made a move. However, when they looked again, a sword was pressed to Shan Jingfei's throat, and Feng Wu was asking, "Well?" She was so calm. It was as if this was the more regular thing. She didn't even flinch. Shan Jingfei froze on the spot. She tried to dodge, but the blade cut into her flesh at the slightest movement. "Stop!" Shan Jingfei screamed when she felt the pain. Her voice trembled. Not all the tutors reacted the same way. Mr. Zhu wasn't shocked. Feng Wu could beat him. Of course she could beat Shan Jingfei. Mr. Wang was frowning and was obviously shocked. Mr. Een cried out. He didn't expect Feng Wu to be so capable. Mr. Yang was even more surprised when he saw Shan Jingfei defeated in the first strike. Shan Jingfei was the most astonished of them all. Feng Wu smiled at her without saying a word. Shan Jingfei knew that Feng Wu was waiting for her to admit defeat. But she couldn't bear the thought. It would be so humiliating. She was the top student of Class B and the dream girl of many boys, but now a new student was pointing a sword at her throat. Shan Jingfei refused to give in. Thinking that Feng Wu had let her guard down, Shan Jingfei took a dagger out of her sleeve. What happened next was quicker than words could describe. She aimed the dagger at Feng Wu's heart. She wanted everyone to see that she was the winner, not Feng Wu. Would she succeed? Many people held their breath. Even Gongsun Mu prepared to intervene if Feng Wu's life was in danger. After all, His Majesty had left him with instructions. Zhou Qingluan sneered inwardly. If Gongsun Mu dared to intervene, she would stop him. The battle might as well happen among the tutors. Luckily, Feng Wu didn't need help. She grabbed Shan Jingfei's wrist when the latter came at her with a dagger, and she twisted it. Crack! It was the sound of bones breaking. Ah! Shan Jingfei's scream was ear-splitting. The bones in her right wrist were broken, and her hand didn't even look like a hand anymore. It swelled up as she watched. Feng Wu, how dare you! Shan Jingfei's life had been smooth sailing ever since she was little, and she had never felt so much pain. Feng Wu smiled as she pressed the fallen star sword to Shan Jingfei's throat. "Do you know where I'll hurt you next?" She stared at Shan Jingfei's throat. Shan Jingfei's heart sank. She had thought that it was sheer luck at first when Feng Wu was able to defeat her, but when Feng Wu broke her wrist, Shan Jingfei realized how formidable Feng Wu really was. She didn't hold many grudges against Feng Wu. Right now, she was overwhelmed by the energy Feng Wu was giving off. Chapter 2637 Feng Wu's Reign 1. Chapter 2637 Feng Wu's Reign 1. I give up. Filled with despair, Shan Jingfei admitted defeat. Feng Wu withdrew her sword. The teachers didn't know what to say for a moment. Mr. Een said, "Feng Wu, you won. I can't believe it." Feng Wu gave him a little nod. Mr. Een had been kind to her the whole time, so Feng Wu smiled at him. She then turned to Mr. Yang of Class B. He was the most astonished of them all. Shan Jingfei was the top student of Class B, and Feng Wu had defeated her in 2 strikes. It was enough to prove her capability. Mr. Yang didn't hold any grudges against Feng Wu, so he wasn't going to make trouble for her. "You'll be in Class B then." Mr. Yang gave the final verdict. He only felt a little embarrassed. Feng Wu wanted to graduate sooner, so she looked at Gongsun Mu. Gongsun Mu smiled wryly. "Feng Wu, you can only skip so many grades at one time." Feng Wu finally gave up trying and sighed. Fine. The teachers were still trying to digest the information when Feng Wu left. Mr. Yin said to Mr. Wang, Feng Wu has gone to Class B just like that. Mr. Wang didn't want to say anything. Mr. Yin sighed. We were discussing if she should go to Class C or Class D, but she went directly to Class B. Mr. Wang's face turned even darker. Mr. Yin shook his head. A real genius will eventually be discovered. Mr. Wang's expression was livid. Shan Jingfei couldn't stand all the discussion and was about to leave, when someone knocked on the door. Hello, I'm Huashan. May I challenge Miss Shan Jingfei? Huashan asked with a smile. Many eyes followed Feng Wu after she left the office. Which class do you think she'll be in? Didn't Mr. Wang say that she'll be in Class D? But Mr. Yin said Class C would take her. Look, she's so calm. If it really is Class C, she should look thrilled. The rumor got around, and soon, every student in Class D and Class E thought that Feng Wu was going to Class D. In room 2001. Xiao Wu, are you going to Class D? Ziling asked nervously. Feng Wu shook her head. Ziling was relieved. So, Xiao Wu would remain in Class E. Class D. Is Feng Wu coming to our class? All of Class D was astonished by the news. Feng Wu had defeated virtually all the students in Class D. Moreover, she had done it all by herself. That was how terrifying Feng Wu was. The fear of being dominated by Feng Wu filled their hearts. Damn it! Why is she coming to our class? Why can't she stay in Class E? Wu Lingyue felt as if she would never see the sun again. In Class C, many students were interested in the event and discussed it among themselves. Meng Lu, the top student of Class C, frowned when he heard the discussion. She's just some newbie in Class E. Why are all of you so concerned? Meng Lu, they said that Feng Wu might join our class. Meng Lu smirked. I'm sure she's not good enough. Chapter 2638 Feng Wu's Reign 2. Chapter 2638 Feng Wu's Reign 2. Mr. Yin entered the classroom at that moment. He gave Meng Lu, the student he had once been proud of, a strange look. He shook his head. The decision would soon be announced. In Class B, if no one in Class C believed that Feng Wu would be joining them, it was only natural that no one in Class B expected to see Feng Wu in their class. They had little interest in what happened in Class E, which was so much more inferior to them. However, Feng Wu was such a pretty girl that many people couldn't help talking about her. But they were using such condescending tones. I heard that Feng Wu is going to skip grades. Even so, she's only going to Class D, which is still far below us. It's not our concern. Come to think of it, Feng Wu is beautiful. Being pretty won't do her any good. A real goddess should have talent as well, like Shan Jingfei. Shan Jingfei didn't know what to say. The conversation gave her complicated feelings. Feng Wu had defeated her in 2 strikes, and she had yet to recover from the fear. As for good looks, Feng Wu was probably 100 times prettier. The thought made her want to cry. Feng Wu is very talented. Ling Hao spoke up for Feng Wu. She defeated the whole of Class D all by herself. That's enough to get her into Class C. Could any of us do that when we were new students? Ling Hao had met Feng Wu once. He had led Feng Wu to the registration office when she first came. Ling Hao's team had met her as well, and they all had a good impression of Feng Wu, with Yi Han being the only exception. Yi Han gave Ling Hao a dirty look. Ling Hao was confused. Had he said something wrong? Forget it. Why are we talking about a nobody? Xan Jishuan, Shan Jingfei's friend, said arrogantly. We should be paying attention to Class A and trying to get in there. That's our top priority. Someone as petty as Feng Wu isn't worth our attention. That's right, said Mu Shuai, Shan Jingfei's most loyal supporter. It'll take years for Feng Wu to come to Class B, and by then, we'll probably have graduated already. Just ignore her. Ling Hao wanted to retort but was interrupted. The broadcast system was making a buzzing noise. It had been a while since that happened. Immediately, all eyes were on the device. It was a chunk of black jade stone which the school used to broadcast all important announcements. If anyone was looking at Shan Jingfei now, they would see that she was ghastly pale and had clenched her fists. Announcement! Announcement! Miss Feng Wu of Class E has demonstrated great talent and performed outstandingly. She has qualified to join Class B. The school has given her special permission to skip grades. End of announcement. Just like all other broadcasts, the announcement was only played once. It had always been that way. However, it was such a shocking piece of news. Class E fell silent. It took them a long while to realize what they had just heard. Sun Jingyu stared at Feng Wu. So did all her classmates in Class E's. Chapter 2639 Feng Wu's Reign 3. Chapter 2639 Feng Wu's Reign 3. Class B. Xiao Wu, you've jumped to Class B. I thought it was Class D. Class B, oh my god! You skipped 2 grades. That's incredible! Feng Wu's fans couldn't control their excitement. Lu Qi was still the head of the anti-fans. By then, there were fewer than 10 of them left. They all looked like they had been struck by lightning. Feng Wu was going to be a Class B student. Sun Jingyu and Pei Si took a deep breath and understood why that was. If she could defeat Mr. Lua with 1 strike, she naturally belonged to Class B. Ziling did know if she should laugh or cry. Her idol was going to Class B. But she soon clenched her fists and told herself that she had to work harder, or she would never be able to see Feng Wu again, let alone hang out with her. Chaoga had always known Feng Wu's capability, so she had been training hard since she joined the War Academy. She knew she would soon skip grades as well. Class D. Wu Lingyue was speechless. So were all her classmates. In Class C, Meng Lu was dumbfounded, and his classmates were at a loss over what to say. It took Meng Lu a long while to recover from the shock. When he did come back to his senses, he felt as if he had been slapped. He had said some condescending things about Feng Wu, but Feng Wu had already risen above him. In Class B, Yi Han was speechless. So was Ling Hao. And Xian Jishuan. Mu Shuai was at a loss over what to say. The entire class was shocked. They all looked like they had been struck by lightning. What? Feng Wu? Class B. She's coming to our class. Didn't Mu Shuai say that it would take her years to get to Class B? Mu Shuai was at a loss. Everyone turned to Shan Jingfei. Now that Feng Wu had entered Class B, with how pretty she was, Shan Jingfei would undoubtedly feel threatened. Xian Jishuan cleared her throat. So what if Feng Wu comes to our class? She must be the weakest student here. She won't be my match, let alone Jingfei's. Shan Jingfei grew even paler. Just then, they heard footsteps outside. Everybody looked up. Mr. Yang had arrived with Feng Wu. They all saw Feng Wu. When Zhuo Qingluan picked on Feng Wu on the first day, Class B had been standing in the front, and the students had only vaguely seen Feng Wu's face. Now, she was standing right in front of them. What a beautiful girl! She wore a red dress. She had bright eyes, exquisite features, and the smoothest skin. She was slender and graceful. One didn't know where to begin to praise her. How incredible! She looked like she didn't belong to this world. Is that Feng Wu? Is that really her? Oh my god! The female students grew pale when they saw how beautiful Feng Wu was. Chapter 2640 Feng Wu's Reign 4. Chapter 2640 Feng Wu's Reign 4. The boys were so stunned that they forgot to blink. Xiao Wu. Ling Hao was thrilled to see Feng Wu and waved at her. Feng Wu smiled at Ling Hao when she recognized him. The smile only accentuated her beautiful features. The boys were dumbfounded. Their new classmate was so stunning. They felt so blessed to have her. Shan Jingfei grew even paler. She stared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu just happened to meet her gaze. Feng Wu smiled slightly when their eyes met, but Shan Jingfei involuntarily looked away. The fear she felt when Feng Wu defeated her grew even stronger. Xian Jixuan gritted her teeth. She wanted to say something, but she was filled with jealousy when she saw how the boys goggled at Feng Wu. She didn't know what to say. Standing on the podium, Mr. Yang saw everyone's reactions. He shook his head slightly when he saw Shan Jingfei. She had lost this battle. It wasn't just because of her lack of capability. She had lost because she didn't have courage. He had yet to decide if Feng Wu's arrival was good or bad news for Class B. With that in mind, he said to all the students, "I think you've all heard the broadcast, so there's no need for me to say more. Let me introduce your new classmate to you. This is Feng Wu." Ling Hao immediately started applauding. His team members followed suit. Xian Jixuan and Shan Jingfei were displeased. They wanted these people to stop clapping. However, the two of them couldn't control what the boys did. After Ling Hao started applauding, the other boys did the same. There were only a few of them at first, but gradually everybody was doing it. "We have 2 other new members." Mr. Yang gestured at 2 people behind him. One was Gu Xingyuan and the other was Hua Shan. "This is Gu Xingyuan. He's from Class E. This is Hua Shan. He's from Class D. Please find your seats. The class will start in a moment." The other students were dumbfounded. All these 3 had skipped grades. Seriously. However, Feng Wu seemed to be the center of all the attention. The students weren't as excited when the 2 other newcomers were introduced. "Xiao Wu, Xiao Wu!" Ling Hao shouted excitedly. "Come here and sit with us." Yi Han's face was livid. As Ling Hao's team member, she naturally sat with her team members. As for Feng Wu, Yi Han used to share the same dormitory with her. However, she suffered an utter defeat on the day Feng Wu arrived and had never set foot in room 2001 since. Now that Feng Wu had joined Class B, one could only imagine how furious Yi Han was. To make it worse, Ling Hao was so enthusiastic about Feng Wu. Yi Han turned around and glared at Ling Hao. "Ling Hao, I'm warning you. If you keep sucking up to her, I'll leave this team." Ling Hao was speechless. Yi Han looked away before he could say anything. Chapter 2641 Class B. Chapter 2641 Class B. Ling Hao looked at Xiao Xiao, his team leader. Xiao Xiao shrugged and refused to get involved. Ling Hao whispered something in Xiao Xiao's ear, but Xiao Xiao cleared his throat and said, "It's up to you. I'm not saying anything." By then, Feng Wu was by Ling Hao's side. Ling Hao immediately stood up and pulled the chair out for her. Feng Wu casually sat down. Yi Han stiffened and her face turned livid. She had warned Ling Hao, but he still dared to act that way. She turned around and glared at Ling Hao with eyes burning with fury. Ling Hao shrugged in resignation. Yi Han gave Feng Wu one last mean look before she smacked her book on the desk and stormed off. Feng Wu was already the center of attention. When that happened, all eyes were on her. Everybody discussed it in hushed voices. "Why did Yi Han run off? I heard them just then. Yi Han doesn't like Feng Wu, but Ling Hao invited Feng Wu over, which upset Yi Han. Yi Han is one of Ling Hao's team members. I thought she was quite popular. It seems that Feng Wu is going to be their new favorite. She's a piece of work. She's only just gotten here, and she's already driven Yi Han away. That's just mean." "You don't say. I heard Yi Han and Ling Hao are a couple, but Feng Wu just inserted herself in between them." Ling Hao was already angry, and he couldn't hold back anymore. He shouted, "You can't make things up. Since when am I a couple with Yihan? If I have to like a girl, it would be Shan Jingfei. It definitely wouldn't be Yihan." The students nearby all cleared their throat. Shan Jingfei didn't know what to say. She was secretly delighted, but she had to put on an annoyed look. Xian Jishuan gave her a nudge. "What?" Shan Jingfei feigned an upset tone. Xian Jishuan smiled. She knew how to make trouble for Feng Wu, the person she hated the most. After class, Ling Hao showed Feng Wu around, introducing her to all the facilities and cultivation rooms. The points worked in all 5 classes. As one moved up the classes, they could earn more points. For instance, one could only earn 100 or 200 points in an event in Class E. According to Ling Hao, one could earn up to 10,000 points in an event in Class B. "We earn more points, but we spend more as well," Ling Hao told Feng Wu when they arrived at the cultivation rooms. "These rooms will cost you 500 points an hour. If we want to improve our cultivation level, we need to do everything we can to earn points." "By the way," Ling Hao asked solemnly, "how many points do you have?" Feng Wu gave it some thought. 1,000, I think. Ling Hao said, "Well, you're broke then. Here's the plan. You'll be joining my team for future tasks." Feng Wu asked, "I thought you already have 5 members." Ling Hao said, "There are 3 new students now, and you can't have a 3-member team. I think Mr. Yang would like you to join an existing team so that we can help you out. 6-member teams are allowed under special circumstances. What do you think? Are you in?" Feng Wu didn't say yes right away, so Ling Hao said, "Don't worry. Yihan is just being girly. She's a nice person. You'll see. Maybe you'll even be friends in the future." Chapter 2642 Trophy. Chapter 2642 Trophy. Yihan. Friends. Feng Wu didn't think so. However, she decided to let Ling Hao think that way if it made him happy. She just shrugged. "The hunt will be in a few days. Xiao Wu, you better prepare some medicine for treating wounds," Ling Hao said solemnly. "Hunts in Class B are very different from Class E's. You may need some time to get used to it." Feng Wu asked curiously, "How are they different?" Ling Hao said, "The significant difference is that the school doesn't tell us what to hunt. Once we team up and enter the hunting zone, anything can happen. Class E and Class D hunt in the outer ring of the forest, while we hunt in the middle ring. Tutors oversee your hunts, and you can ask them for help when things go wrong. We don't have that privilege. The top team of Class E is rewarded with 100 or 200 points, but ours can earn up to 10,000 points. And there's more." Ling Hao switched to a mysterious tone. "You can choose whether or not you want a hand in the crystal cores you find." Feng Wu asked, "Can I keep them for myself? Is that allowed?" Ling Hao said, "Of course. Do you know Shan Jingfei? She's the most popular girl in the academy." Feng Wu nodded. Not only that, Feng Wu had also defeated that girl in 2 strikes. Ling Hao said, "Of course, now that you're here, she's hardly the prettiest girl. You shouldn't be too proud since she's much more capable than you." His tone was sincere. "Yes, pretty girls have a special advantage, but we'll only respect a pretty girl when they have the capability to match. Feng Wu, you have to work harder to catch up to Shan Jingfei. Promise?" Feng Wu said, "All right." Ling Hao asked, "You didn't even think about it?" Feng Wu asked, "What's wrong with that?" Ling Hao said, "You sounded like you were being offhand with me." Feng Wu didn't know what to say. Ling Hao asked, "Do you know why I want you to beat Shan Jingfei?" Feng Wu asked, "Why?" Ling Hao said, "Because she's crossed the line. Do you know who Xiao Xiao is? He's our team leader." Feng Wu said, "I know." Ling Hao said, "He wrote Shan Jingfei a love letter the other day. She could have turned him down since she didn't have feelings for him, but she didn't do that. Instead, she's been giving him false hope." Every time she sees Xiao Xiao, she's so shy and innocent, as if she's interested in him, but she won't go out with him. Ling Hao clenched his fist. When I asked the girls, I was told that Shan Jingfei and her roommates see Xiao Xiao as a laughingstock. He's just another trophy for her to collect. Do you know what the worst part is? What is it? Feng Wu casually asked. Ling Hao snarled. Shan Jingfei wrote the names of all the boys who have ever pursued her on the wall next to her bed. It's become her collection. Feng Wu almost wanted to applaud the girl. Ling Hao said, because Xiao Xiao is the most earnest one, they're saying the worst things about him. Feng Wu said, you can tell Xiao Xiao what's going on. Chapter 2643 Me or Her. Chapter 2643 Me or Her. Ling Hao shook his head. I can't. Xiao Xiao will be devastated. I haven't told anyone. Feng Wu said, that's Xiao Xiao's business. It doesn't have anything to do with me, and I'm not obliged to get revenge for him. Ling Hao said, you don't have to do that. I just find Shan Jingfei so fake. She doesn't deserve to be seen as a school goddess. I hope you can replace her. Don't worry. Ling Hao patted her on the shoulder. I'll give you a hand. Feng Wu said, thank you very much. Ling Hao didn't notice the false modesty in her tone, and he smiled. Don't worry about it. Feng Wu didn't know what to say. Soon, it was the day of the hunt. Feng Wu still lived in room 2001, and she didn't know many people in Class B. Most students stayed with their existing teams. The group around Shan Jingfei was huge because everyone wanted to be on the same team as her. Not only was she competent, she was also pretty. It would be such a sweet deal. However, Shan Jingfei wouldn't team up with just anyone. She had her own team. But now, she walked up to Gu Xingyuan and smiled at him. Huashan approached Feng Wu. Feng Wu, let's team up, he said earnestly. Feng Wu was the Crown Prince's girl, and the Crown Prince was like the boss of his boss. Because of that, Huashan decided he should jump onto Feng Wu's wagon while he had the chance. I'm sorry. Ling Hao joined them at that moment and smiled at Huashan. Feng Wu is on my team. Then I'll join you too, Huashan said without hesitation. Ling Hao frowned. We want to have you, but we already have 6 people. I'm sorry. Huashan looked from Ling Hao to the people behind him. There are only 5 of you. Where's the 6th one? Xiao Xiao, Wang Ji, Ling Hao, Qing Feng, and Feng Wu. There were indeed only 5 people. Yi Han is with us too. Ling Hao turned around to look for her and saw her a few steps away, so he waved at her. Yi Han, over here. Yi Han walked toward them, but her face darkened when she saw Feng Wu. What's she doing here? She pointed at Feng Wu and asked harshly. Ling Hao wanted Yi Han to play nice, so he said, Feng Wu is our newest team member. Yi Han angrily cut him off. Ling Hao, didn't you hear what I said before? Ling Hao was an outgoing guy, but that didn't mean that he would let other people pick on him. He lost his temper as well. His face darkened. Yi Han, please don't shout at me. Yi Han grew angrier. She pointed at Ling Hao. I made things very clear. You can only have one of us on the team. It's either her or me. And you just ignored me. You dragged her into our team. Ling Hao, are you trying to get rid of me? Ling Hao frowned. Yi Han, you're deliberately twisting my words. Yi Han said, I'm twisting your words? Ling Hao, what's that supposed to mean? Ling Hao said, we're all classmates here. Yi Han smirked. Really? Do you think so? Chapter 2644 Fire Dragon Blood. Chapter 2644 Fire Dragon Blood. Yi Han turned to the others. Xiao Xiao. She stared at her team leader. What do you say? Xiao Xiao said coldly, stop being a baby. Just join the team. Being a baby? Is that what you think this is? Yi Han felt so wrong that she trembled from head to toe. She looked angrily at each of her teammates in turn. Wang Ji and Qing Fong both remained indifferent. Fine, fine. You all think I'm a baby, right? I'll give you what you want. Yi Han smirked. I'm leaving this team. She stormed off after that. Ling Hao said, Yi Han, no team will take you if you leave now. Just come back. Yi Han smirked. I'm an expert in both wood and fire elements, and I'm a medicine refiner. I can cure people. More than enough teams will want me. She glanced at Feng Wu. When you're injured, she can treat you. She was right. Another team soon accepted her. Ling Hao and his team members didn't seem so happy. Huashan smiled. Can I join you now? Ling Hao looked at Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao frowned and looked Huashan up and down. What level are you? I'm a level 5 spiritual lord. Nice. Xiao Xiao was impressed. That was almost as advanced as he was. Join us then. Xiao Xiao nodded. However, he didn't believe that Huashan was better than he was. What about you? He asked Feng Wu. Feng Wu said, I'm better than Huashan. Ling Hao burst out laughing. Ling Hao patted her on the shoulder and whispered, Feng Wu, can you keep your voice down when you brag? Other people can hear you. Feng Wu asked, so what? Ling Hao said, we all know you just left Class E. There's a limit no matter how talented you are. You and Huashan are both too proud. Ling Hao shrugged at Qing Fong. New students nowadays are so arrogant. They're not like us at all. Qing Fong glanced at Feng Wu. Yi Han had been their team member for a long time, but she stormed off as soon as Feng Wu arrived. Someone as upright as Qing Fong couldn't understand it. He cast a stern look at Feng Wu and turned away. Mr. Yang arrived at that moment to announce the task. You're going into the middle ring this time, so all of you have to be careful. Your life can be in danger at any moment. Magical beasts in that area are intelligent. They'll team up and the smarter ones can attack in formations. They'll be tough to handle. When you go in, don't just focus on killing magical beasts, taking the crystal cores, and collecting materials. The most important thing is to protect yourselves. The first team will receive an unprecedented reward. Mr. Yang raised a pot of blood-red liquid in his hand. This is fire dragon blood. The crowd erupted. Fire dragon blood. I can't believe it. Qing Fong was the most excited one. What's that? Huashan was new here, so he didn't know what it was. Chapter 2645 Seeded Team. Chapter 2645 Seeded Team. It can double one's physical strength. Qing Fong was thrilled. Although it's only a small pot, that's a rare material. Feng Wu's eyes flickered when she saw the fire dragon blood. She was about to refine some pills for both herself and her friend. The medicine could enhance one's strength, and fire dragon blood was one of the chief ingredients. What a lucky coincidence. Feng Wu smiled. Only the team with the highest points can have it. Mr. Yang was very straightforward. And there's more. More? The individual student with the highest points will become a member of the seeded team in the Martial Arts Society. Mr. Yang announced. Wow. Really? A member of the seeded team? I thought they recruited from Class A only. They're considering Class B now? It was followed by an avid discussion, but Feng Wu was perplexed. Huashan explained to her, the Martial Arts Society is one of the societies in the War Academy, and the seeded team will have battles with other schools on behalf of the Academy. Feng Wu asked, other schools? Huashan said, that's right. Things haven't been quiet among different schools. The tutors can't fight one another, so they let the teams fight instead. Feng Wu asked, isn't Imperial College the best school? Huashan gave her a strange look. Feng Wu asked, am I wrong? Huashan shook his head. 5 years ago, Imperial College was the best school, and no one would dare challenge us, but things are different now. Feng Wu asked, how so? Before Huashan could say anything, Mr. Yang spoke again. The student with the highest score will have the rare chance to join the seeded team. As we all know, that team is the core of Imperial College. Once you join them, you'll become the honor of this school. Once you get in, it'll be much easier for you to receive resources from the school, and you'll make rapid progress. The students listened with sparkling eyes. All they could think of were the words, highest score, and seeded team. Feng Wu would be lying if she didn't admit that she was intrigued. Her cultivation progress had been going slowly. She needed a lot of crystal cores to provide her with enough spiritual essence. That was the only way she could become a spiritual king as soon as possible. Zhou Qingluan was a level 1 spiritual king, which was why she could flaunt her prowess in Imperial College. Once Feng Wu became a spiritual king, she could confront Zhou Qingluan. The idea made Feng Wu want to join that team even more. Feng Wu asked, "Isn't Imperial College the best school?" She asked Huashan again. Huashan shook his head. "The military academy has been on the rise lately, and they're catching up to us. I heard from my cousin that they've officially challenged us, and we're not sure we can win." Feng Wu frowned. "Why is that?" Chapter 2646 First? Chapter 2646 First. Huashan looked around. Seeing that no one was paying attention, he whispered something in Feng Wu's ear. Feng Wu looked at him in surprise. Huashan nodded. "My cousin is the president of the Martial Arts Society. He's a very reliable source." Feng Wu said, If the school loses that competition, what will happen? First of all, Imperial College won't be the top school anymore. Then, the Empire will allocate more resources to the military academy, and as a result, younger students here will have a harder time making progress. Thirdly, it'll also give the military academy a greater say in many things. And Feng Wu waved him off. "What does that have to do with me?" Huashan stared at Feng Wu. "Aren't you a student of Imperial College? Don't you love our school?" Feng Wu tilted her head. She was a student of Imperial College, but she didn't identify with this community. Therefore, she shook her head. "Since the school hasn't given me any special treatment, I have no obligation to give anything in return, right?" Huashan said. But, he didn't know how to convince Feng Wu. Feng Wu chuckled. "Why the rush? When I become first and join the seeded team, I'll be using the school's resources. After that, I'll owe them something." Wait, what did I just hear? Ling Hao and Qing Fang came up to them when Feng Wu and Huashan were still talking. They were here to tell them that the team was setting out, but they were shocked by what Feng Wu said. "What was that?" Ling Hao looked at Feng Wu in disbelief. "You'll be first, join the seeded team, and use the school's resources." Feng Wu asked, "What's wrong with that?" Ling Hao said, "Are you seriously asking me that question?" He was astonished. He wasn't alone. Qing Fang was also shocked. He couldn't believe what he heard. "Aren't you ashamed?" Qing Fang was amazed. Feng Wu looked at them in bewilderment. She was telling the truth. "Let's get going before you surprise another person." Fearing that Feng Wu would say more astonishing things, Ling Hao dragged Feng Wu toward Thousand Night Forest. However, enough people had heard her. Xian Jishuan was already keeping an eye on Feng Wu, and she soon told other people what Feng Wu had just said. "First, join the seeded team." Feng Wu. Ahem. Shan Jingfei's friends were shocked at first, but they soon grew excited. "How stupid is that Feng Wu? She's full of bullshit. I guess she's so pleased with herself about skipping grades. No matter how self-satisfied she is, she needs to have a sense of shame. Everyone knows Shan Jingfei is first in our class." While everyone was discussing it, Shan Jingfei remained unaffected. Xian Jishuan realized something was wrong, so she asked, "Fei Fei, are you alright?" Shan Jingfei nodded. "I'm fine. I'm just coming down with something. Don't worry. Xin Jishuan wanted to say something, but Shan Jingfei cut her off. It's that time of the month, you know. Xin Jishuan knew what she meant, but she remembered Shan Jingfei's period had come 2 weeks ago. Chapter 2647 Teach Her a Lesson. Chapter 2647 Teach Her a Lesson. Yihan joined Duanmuhua's team. Duanmuhua had always had feelings for Yihan. Now that she was in his team, he worshipped her and would give her everything she wanted. Where should we go? Duanmuhua asked for Yihan's opinion. Seeing that Shan Jingfei and Feng Wu's teams were headed in the same direction, Yihan told Duanmuhua, "We'll follow Shan Jingfei. That way, she can give us a hand if we run into danger." Duanmuhua liked the idea, so the team followed Shan Jingfei's group at a distance. Xiao Zhao's team led the way. He named his team after him. It was easy to remember, and everyone liked it. "We'll try to get second place," said Xiao Xiao. "I know where we can find a Class B magical beast. We'll kill it and gain a lot of points." A Class B magical beast? Feng Wu looked at Ling Hao in bewilderment. Ling Hao asked, "Have you never heard that term before?" Feng Wu said, "No. Right, I forgot you were in Class E. You only operated in the outer ring, and all the magical beasts there are called low-level magical beasts. There are no actual categories. That's why you don't know. They're divided into categories once you're in Class D and above. You didn't go to Class D, so you don't know." To have students fight magical beasts of their own level, the school divided Thousand Night into different zones. Class D students fight Class D magical beasts. Class C students fight Class C magical beasts. Class B students fight Class B magical beasts. You're in Class B now, so you'll be fighting Class B magical beasts, Ling Hao said solemnly. Do you know Class B magical beasts consist of junior, intermediate, advanced, and peak-level magical beasts? Feng Wu shook her head again. Ling Hao asked in resignation, "Then do you know how many points the magical beasts of each level will give you?" Feng Wu shook her head again. Ling Hao said, "You don't know any of that, but you're still trying to be first." Feng Wu said, "I don't care about their levels. I can just kill them." Qing Fong smirked. "You're so confident, aren't you?" Ling Hao rolled his eyes at him. "Stop it. Xiao Wu is a member of our team now. Be nice." He then turned to Feng Wu. "Junior magical beasts will give you 10 points. Intermediate magical beasts, 100 points. Advanced magical beasts, 1,000 points. Peak-level magical beasts, 10,000 points." Ling Hao grew excited as he spoke. "If we can kill Class B peak-level magical beasts, the points we get will be the same as the reward we'll receive for becoming the top team." Feng Wu nodded. "We'll be killing magical beasts of that level then." Ling Hao looked at Feng Wu, then turned away. He couldn't understand it. She was such a pretty girl. Why was she so shameless? Xiao Xiao couldn't take that level of confidence. As the team leader, he had to say something. He cleared his throat. "Xiao Wu, let's take baby steps, okay? One step at a time." Chapter 2648 Python. Chapter 2648 Python. "That's right." Qing Fong smirked. "Even Shan Jingfei, the top student of our class, can't kill such a beast. Why do you think you can? Don't make me laugh." Feng Wu asked. "Has she hunted one before?" Qing Fong said, "Of course." Feng Wu said, "Then we're fine." That meant a magical beast at that level wasn't all that capable. Qing Fong was speechless. He almost choked on his own spit. He decided to stop talking and let the arrogant girl learn her lesson on her own. The team remained silent after that. Wang Ji was the only person on this team who hadn't said a word. He was the most intelligent team member and would usually come up with all the strategies. As a result, he was quite an authoritative figure in the team. Qing Fong complained to Wang Ji, If it were up to me, I would have picked Yi-Han. She's a healer. Ching Fong was often injured, and Yi-Han had treated him a few times. He was grateful for it. Wang Ji glanced at Feng Wu and then smiled at Ching Fong. If I were you, I'd try to be nice to her. Ching Fong was shocked. Are you on her side now? Wang Ji smiled. If I'm correct, Feng Wu is going to surprise us. No matter how much Ching Fong asked, Wang Ji wouldn't say another word. Ling Hao walked by Feng Wu's side. Since we're from Class B, we're going into the middle ring. You should watch out and stay away from the inner circle. That's Class A's territory. If we go in there, the magical beasts will eat us alive. Pay attention to the yellow line on the ground. Our zone is on this side, and their zone is on the other side. We're now going to kill a Class B magical beast. Ling Hao glanced at Feng Wu. Seeing how unaffected she was, Ling Hao said solemnly, Feng Wu, what's with that look on your face? Are you looking down on this beast? Listen to me. Magical beasts at this level are equivalent to level 5 spiritual lords. Sure. We're all level 5 spiritual lords. However, humans will never be the match of magical beasts of the same level. Even if we're a team, running into such a magical beast is still dangerous. You must be careful. We're here, Xiao Xiao warned them. There's a lightning python in a cave a short distance away. It's an advanced level B magical beast. Take cover and be careful. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Xiao Xiao, Wang Ji, Ling Hao, and Ching Fong all took cover. Ling Hao grabbed Feng Wu and Huashan so that they could stay with him. Xiao Xiao said, I'll lure out that snake. You guys attack it. His teammates nodded. Xiao Xiao turned to Feng Wu and Huashan. You've just joined us and don't know this area well. Guard the east and west exit. Don't let the python get away. Feng Wu and Huashan nodded before guarding the exit. Whoosh! The next second, Xiao Xiao rushed into the cave. Before long, they heard angry roars coming out of the cave. Whoosh! 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 Xiao Xiao was the first to rush out. A giant black python over 10 meters long chased him. Kill it! Xiao Xiao stopped running once the python was out of the cave. He turned around and struck the beast. Chapter 2649 Poisoned. Chapter 2649 Poisoned. A lightning python was as fast as its name suggested. It immediately dodged the attack. Attack! Xiao Xiao, Wang Ji, Ling Hao, and Ching Fong moved all at once. They attacked at the same time. Feng Wu crossed her arms and glanced at the python. A lightning python at this level could fight off 4 humans of the same level after exchanging dozens of stances. Magical beasts were naturally more powerful than humans. However, it was going to lose after a few more rounds. She was right. Before long, Xiao Xiao hit the python with a hard blow. However, the python also bit Ching Fong on the arm. Ah! Ching Fong screamed. Xiao Xiao and the others turned pale, because the blood oozing out was purple instead of red. He had been poisoned. While they were looking at Ching Fong, the python turned to run. It was much faster than other magical beasts. Whoosh! It ran in Huashan's direction. He had been waiting for the beast. His teammates shouted, Stop it! Huashan, stop it! Huashan wasn't affected by all the shouting. He just stared at the python. When it was close enough, he raised his sword and struck down. There was a loud thump. His blade hit the python in its weakest spot. When the others realized what had happened, the python had been decapitated. Its long body fell onto the ground in 2 halves, and blood gushed out. Ling Hao was astonished. He looked from Huashan, whose clothes were splattered with blood, to the dead beast on the ground. Huashan, did you do this? Huashan said, Yup. I think I'm doing alright, right? Ling Hao said, I didn't know you could do that. Ling Hao patted Huashan on the shoulder and spoke to Xiao Xiao with a smile. Xiao Xiao, we've found a treasure. Xiao Xiao was equally pleased. Huashan, that's great. Keep up the good work. Huashan hadn't done it for his teammate. He was only trying to prove to Feng Wu that he could be useful to her, so that she could take him under her wing. However, he didn't see Feng Wu when he looked up. Where's Boss Feng Wu? He panicked a little. Boss Feng Wu? Ling Hao said grumpily, I don't know what's gotten into your head. You're so much better than Feng Wu. Why are you calling her your boss? Huashan said, That's not important. Ling Hao asked, What's important then? Huashan couldn't tell them that Feng Wu was the crown prince's girl. It was the biggest secret. He only waved at him. You won't understand. Meanwhile, the other team members stood around Qing Fong. Wang Ji grabbed his arm and asked hastily, Qing Fong, how do you feel? Can you think straight? How many fingers am I holding up? Wang Ji waved 3 fingers in front of Qing Fong's face. The poison was so potent that Qing Fong had turned a purplish-blue color in a matter of minutes. Chapter 2650 Save Him. Chapter 2650 Save Him. Qing Fong wanted to say something, but he couldn't utter a word. How's Qing Fong doing? Is he all right? Ling Hao arrived in a hurry and panicked when he saw Qing Fong's dilated pupils. Wang Ji checked Qing Fong's pulse and his face darkened. How is he? Xiao Xiao and Ling Hao asked in unison. Wang Ji shook his head. The python's venom is too potent. It has spread to his brain. How can it progress so rapidly? Don't we always bring antitoxin pills with us? Have you given him any? Xiao Xiao and Ling Hao spoke in unison again. Wang Ji said, I have, but the venom is too potent. There isn't much we can do. Ling Hao stared at Wang Ji. Are you saying that? Wang Ji nodded. Qing Fong lost hope. Although the others didn't say it out loud, he knew he was going to die. But he was so young. There were many goals he had yet to achieve. He wanted to live. He swore to himself that he would be forever grateful to the person who could save his life. Help me! Everyone was filled with despair when someone showed up next to them. Feng Wu stuffed a red berry into Qing Fong's mouth. Eat it! Qing Fong swallowed it before he realized what was going on. What did you give him? Ling Hao stared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu ignored him. Instead, she took a dagger out of her sleeve, disinfected it with a flame and told Huashan, hold out his right arm. Sure. Huashan followed Feng Wu's order without hesitation. What on earth are you doing? Ling Hao stared at Feng Wu. Don't you know that Qing Fong has been poisoned and is going to die? Hold on, Feng Wu told Huashan. Huashan nodded and held Qing Fong's wrist tightly. I'm saving his life, Feng Wu replied without looking up. She then carefully cleaned Qing Fong's wrist. Saving his life? What gave you that idea? Ling Hao didn't believe her. You're cutting his wrist. Do you think you can get the poisonous blood out of his system? Stay out of it, Ling Hao told Feng Wu. He didn't want her to take responsibility if something went wrong, so he said, You'll make it even worse. Back off. Xiao Xiao and the others were overwhelmed with sorrow at the thought of losing Qing Fong, and they shook their heads as well. There's no way you can get the blood out of his system just like that. There's no other way. Feng Wu ignored them. With a flip of her hand, the dagger cut open Qing Fong's wrist. It won't work. The venom has reached Qing Fong's brain, Wang Ji said in disappointment as he looked at the unconscious Qing Fong. He grabbed Qing Fong's other hand and made a solemn promise. Qing Fong, we know your elderly mother is sick at home. Don't worry. We'll take care of her after you're gone. Rest in peace. Qing Fong's lips quivered, but he couldn't speak a word. His friends' eyes filled with tears as they looked away. Who would have thought when they set out this morning that they would lose a friend so soon? Chapter 2651 Red Berry. Chapter 2651 Red Berry. Ling Hao burst into tears and Wang Ji sobbed. Who says I'm dead? All of a sudden, they heard an angry roar. What? They turned around and stared at Qing Fong. He wasn't dead. Yes, Qing Fong was alive. Next to him was a pool of purplish blood. He was pale and weak, but his eyes were wide open as he beamed at his friends. Qing Fong, you're alive. Ling Hao slapped Qing Fong on the chest. Qing Fong coughed. The venom hadn't killed him, but Qing Fong's smack almost made him choke. Sorry, buddy. I didn't mean to. I was just too excited. Ling Hao scrambled to give Qing Fong a hand. How are you doing? Feeling better? Qing Fong was finally breathing normally, and he shook his head at Ling Hao. You almost knocked the air out of me. Seeing that Qing Fong was in better shape, Ling Hao held Qing Fong's other wrist that hadn't been cut open and checked his pulse. Wait a minute! Wang Ji cried out and stared at Feng Wu in amazement. The venom is leaving his system. Feng Wu nodded. Yup. Huashan was still bleeding Qing Fong while Feng Wu wiped her dagger. Wang Ji said, the venom reached his brain, heart, and lungs, but it's now gone. Feng Wu nodded. Yup. Ling Hao and the others kept looking back and forth between Feng Wu and Wang Ji. What was going on? Did Feng Wu really save Qing Fong? Ling Hao and Xiao Xiao looked at each other in disbelief. They were so excited that they covered their mouth. If that was true, Ling Hao could have gotten Qing Fong killed when he stopped Feng Wu from treating him. Ling Hao stared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu nodded at Qing Fong. The venom is almost out of your system. Don't worry. You'll live. Qing Fong wanted to cry. Really? I will. He was going to live. He was going to see tomorrow's sun. Qing Fong didn't know how to express his gratitude toward Feng Wu. The others felt the same. Xiao Xiao said excitedly, Thank you, Feng Wu. We wouldn't know what to do without you. Feng Wu casually said, Don't worry about it. Wang Ji asked curiously, Can bleeding him flush out the venom? Feng Wu shook her head. I fed him that red berry before I bled him. Wang Ji asked, What's that red berry? Feng Wu pointed at a tree a few steps away. Small red berries were dangling on the branches. Wang Ji asked, How did you know they could treat the venom? Feng Wu glanced at him. Do you see any plants in a 1-kilometer radius? Wang Ji shook his head. Feng Wu said, Nothing else has survived around the python's cave. However, this tree is flourishing. Don't you think that's strange? Wang Ji's eyes lit up. Chapter 2652 Savior. Chapter 2652 Savior. Feng Wu added, In the wild, many living creatures mutually reinforce or neutralize each other. This tree has the python's energy on it and is the only living tree in the area. The tree and the python likely reinforce each other. Wang Ji nodded. How could you be sure? Feng Wu said, I would know once he ate the berry. She had noticed that someone was watching them from behind some trees in the distance, and she could feel the person's gaze follow her around. She decided not to reveal all her secret. She simply made up an answer to give to Wang Ji. Wang Ji asked, What if you guessed wrong? Feng Wu said, It was better than nothing. Xiao Xiao cleared his throat. Luckily, we saved Qing Fong. That's the best news. Everyone nodded. Ling Hao patted Qing Fong on the shoulder and chuckled. It's your lucky day. Feng Wu just happened to spot that tree. Qing Fong laughed. Yihan suddenly showed up. When she saw Qing Fong on the ground, she asked hastily, Qing Fong, are you all right? Shan Jingfei's team had arrived before hers did, and they were the ones who had been observing Feng Wu. Yihan's team arrived a little later, and she thought she had a chance when Qing Fong collapsed. However, she had shown up just a little too late. I was almost killed by that venom, but I'm fine now. Qing Fong beamed at Yihan. Yihan patted her chest. I was so scared. By the way, here are some potions I prepared. It can neutralize a lot of toxins. Don't lose them. She acted like Qing Fong's best friend. Qing Fong said, Yihan, you're so thoughtful. I would feel so much safer if we had you with us. Huashan was annoyed. Qing Fong, have you forgotten who just saved your life? Qing Fong glanced at Feng Wu but didn't say anything. Yes, Feng Wu had saved him, but he considered it dumb luck and believed Yihan was the actual physician. He didn't retort because it would make him sound ungrateful, but he still asked Xiao Xiao, Captain, can we have Yihan back on the team? Xiao Xiao's smile froze a little, and he was involuntarily against the idea. She's with another team already. How can she join us now? We don't have such a rule. Plus, she wouldn't want to either. Yihan smirked inwardly. Her aim here wasn't to kill magical beasts and earn points. Instead, she was here to see Feng Wu meet her doom. She wanted to see everyone despise the girl. Hence, she looked at Xiao Xiao and the other team members in concern. I can't join you, but after what happened to Qing Fong, I can't leave you here all by yourselves either. Duanmu, do you think our teams can stay together? Xiao Xiao looked from Yihan to her team leader Duanmuhua and asked, Shall we? Yihan whispered something in Duanmuhua's ear. He nodded and walked up to Xiao Xiao. Yihan then smiled at Xiao Xiao. We've agreed to stay with your team for the rest of this hunt. Don't worry. We won't try to take away your magical beast. Xiao Xiao hesitated and looked at his teammates. The others were still shocked by the poisonous python, so they agreed to let Yihan's team tag along. Chapter 2653 Master Level Medical Refiner. Chapter 2653 Master Level Medical Refiner. How about we stay with them as well? Hiding behind the trees, Xian Jishuan happily made the suggestion to Shan Jingfei. Shan Jingfei stared at her. Xian Jishuan didn't see the strange look in Shan Jingfei's eyes because she was immersed in her own delusion. I never liked that Feng Wu, right from the moment I saw her. After a pause, Xian Jishuan said, that look in her eyes. It's so condescending and arrogant, as if we're ants and she's this fairy that's too good for us. She's the one who came from a lower class. She should be trying to please us, not the other way round. There's just so much pride. Many boys who used to be into you are chasing her now. Jingfei, you have to stop trying to avoid her. We need to confront her. Xian Jishuan clenched her fists and urged Shan Jingfei. She's just a new student. We need to show her who we are. Who we are. Shan Jingfei recalled her battle with Feng Wu and felt as if her heart was caught in a tight grip. She frowned. Let's go. She led the team away. Xian Jishuan stared at her in disbelief. Wasn't their original plan to stay with Feng Wu? Why did their team leader just choose a completely different direction? Xian Jishuan was perplexed. Jingfei? Jingfei? Her team followed her in confusion. Meanwhile, Shan Jingfei was grinding her teeth. Feng Wu. Not only was she stunning, she was so capable. Shan Jingfei couldn't stand it. To make it worse, Feng Wu had concealed her real capability so that other people would see her as a weakling. Shan Jingfei saw it as utter humiliation. She knew perfectly well that once Feng Wu showed her natural ability, no one in Class B would notice her anymore. Why did Feng Wu have to exist in the first place? I saw Shan Jingfei just then. Her team has headed in another direction. Yihan stayed close to Xiao Zhao's team deliberately, just to elbow out Feng Wu. The idea had just occurred to Yihan. She realized that she had approached things in the wrong way. Feng Wu was in the team because she had backed out. If she hadn't arrived in time, Feng Wu would have won Qing Fong over. Therefore, she decided to change her approach. She needed to let Xiao Xiao and the others know that the team couldn't survive without her. Therefore, Yihan changed her attitude. She became more outgoing and showed more interest in her teammates. She even walked up to Ling Hao and apologized for being rude to him before. Ling Hao had been walking alongside Feng Wu, but after Yi Han arrived, Feng Wu was gradually pushed to the rear of the team. Ling Hao and Yi Han walked in the front. Ling Hao laughed. It was because of something Yi Han said. Ling Hao looked over his shoulder and told Feng Wu, Yi Han said she's become a master-level medical refiner. That's great news. Our trip this time will be much safer. Yi Han gave Feng Wu a taunting look. In fact, she hadn't become one, but she was getting there. Chapter 2654 Charity. Chapter 2654 Charity. Huashan was speechless when he saw the arrogant look on Yi Han's face. Master-level medical refiner? Big deal. If they knew Feng Wu's connections, they would be scared out of their wits. However, Huashan glanced at Feng Wu and decided that she would have to go through a lot from now on because she didn't have better medical skills. He decided that he would defend Feng Wu's dignity. Everyone became much quieter after that. It was somewhat awkward. As the team leader, Xiao Xiao knew what this was about. He and Wang Ji looked at each other in resignation. Who would have thought that Yi Han and Feng Wu would dislike each other so much? Ahem. As the team leader, Xiao Xiao tried to break the ice. Our second target is 3 kilometers ahead of us. It's a magic vine beast, Xiao Xiao said solemnly. A magic vine beast? Yi Han was confused. Is that a plant or an animal? Good question. Right to the point. Xiao Xiao gave Yi Han an approving look. Yi Han was glad to hear it, especially when she was being compared with Feng Wu. She gave Feng Wu an arrogant glance. However, Feng Wu was checking the perimeter and didn't notice her. Yi Han rolled her eyes and decided to make Feng Wu suffer. Huashan stuck out his tongue at her. Yi Han glared at Huashan. You sycophant! Huashan grinned. So what? You can't be one even if you want to. Yi Han was furious and found Huashan an idiot. You're such a clown. Huashan retorted, You're worse than a clown. Yi Han was so angry that she wouldn't say another word. Huashan felt both excited and lonely about being the only one to know the secret. Xiao Xiao was speechless when he heard the bickering. He decided that he would take neither Huashan nor Feng Wu with them next time. He didn't have much hope for this hunt. Killing the second target was probably as far as they could go this time. Technically, magic vine beasts are magical beasts. However, vines grow on their backs, and they're very good at hiding themselves. When they crouch down and stay still, they look just like actual vines. You must be careful from now on. They're poisonous too, Xiao Xiao warned the others. I've prepared some antidotes for you. Yi Han knew it was time for her to impress the others. She took out a bottle and gave the others some pills. These are master-level pills. I'm sure they can neutralize the vine's toxin. Take it in advance, and you won't have to worry about magic vine beasts anymore. Yi Han then distributed the pills. She gave some to Xiao Xiao, Wang Ji, Qing Fang, Ling Hao, and the members of the other team. Finally, she came to Feng Wu's side. She looked down her nose at Feng Wu and said condescendingly, Although I don't like you, Ling Hao brought you into this team, so I can't do anything about it. Take this pill as charity. Chapter 2655 Magic Vine Beast. Chapter 2655 Magic Vine Beast. Charity. Feng Wu glanced at her. Hold out your hand. Yi Han gloated. Feng Wu didn't want to speak to her and waved her off. Don't you want it? Yi Han stared at her in disbelief. She thought Feng Wu had lost her mind. Thinking that Feng Wu was acting out, Ling Hao stepped out and told Yi Han, I'll keep it for her. He then held out his hand. That won't do. Yi Han frowned. I'm giving it to her. It's none of your business, Ling Hao. Otherwise, you can give back your pill too. Ling Hao gave Feng Wu an apologetic look. Yi Han smirked. Are you sure? It's a master-level pill. Don't blame me for not helping you if the poison kills you later. Feng Wu glanced at her and nodded. Yihan didn't expect Feng Wu to be so stubborn, so she put away the pill and snorted. I guess good intentions aren't always appreciated. Feng Wu suddenly asked, Have you recovered from your injury yet? Yihan stiffened. She had forgotten something. On her first day of school, Feng Wu practically crippled Yihan in room 2001. Mind your own business. Yihan feigned a harsh tone, threw a dirty look at Feng Wu, and walked away. Feng Wu smiled. Fearing that the two girls would cause a scene, Xiao Xiao intervened. We're very close to the magic vine beast now. Stay hidden while we move forward. Feng Wu suddenly asked, How many beasts are we talking about? Yihan smirked. Stop pretending. Magic vine beasts are level 5 spiritual lords. One beast is all that we can handle. How many do you want? You're so greedy. Yihan. Xiao Xiao scolded Yihan before he smiled at Feng Wu. Just one, but it's very well hidden and will be very hard to find. One? Feng Wu looked at the leaves on a branch a few steps away and didn't say a word. Why is there water? The dew should have dried up by now. Ling Hao wiped his face when he felt some water dripping on his face. I feel it too. Qing Fong nodded. Ling Hao, why is your face green? Green? Instantly, all eyes were on Ling Hao. Ling Hao asked, What's wrong? It's quite cool and comfortable. Xiao Xiao cried out. Ling Hao, the green liquid is from the magic vine beast. It's above you. Xiao Xiao then threw out the weapon he was holding. Whoosh! The magic vine beast evaded the weapon. Not only did it evade the attack, it disappeared almost immediately. Where did it go? Qing Fong's eyes widened. However, they looked everywhere and couldn't find the beast. Xiao Xiao had a solemn look on his face. Magic vine beasts have the abilities of both plants and animals. They can hide themselves as magical plants, and we won't see them even if they're right next to us. Moreover, Xiao Zhao's face darkened. Somehow, I feel that this beast is much faster than the one I encountered last time. Chapter 2656, Level 6 Spiritual Lord. Chapter 2656, Level 6 Spiritual Lord. Xiao Xiao, are you saying? Qing Fong stared at Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao said solemnly, If I'm guessing correctly, the beast is much stronger than before. Qing Fong asked, What do you mean by stronger? Xiao Xiao said, It's probably a level 6 spiritual lord. Oh my god! Ling Hao cried out. If that's the case, we have no hope at all. That's right. Without Shan Jingfei's help, we'll. Now what? Everyone looked at Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao looked at Ling Hao with a severe expression on his face. Why are you looking at me? Ling Hao was confused. Xiao Xiao said, You've already been poisoned. Ling Hao patted his chest. Don't worry. We have Yihan, don't we? She gave us the antidote earlier. What can possibly happen? There was an indescribable look in Xiao Zhao's eyes. Yihan was equally confident. Don't worry. My pills are master level ones. If the magic vine beast really is a level 6 spiritual lord, we must leave now. She then turned to leave. Xiao Xiao asked Ling Hao, Are you sure you're okay? Ling Hao nodded. I feel fine. It's quite cool. It's as refreshing as wearing mint leaves on my face. Xiao Xiao said, If that's the case, let's get out of here now. We can't fight a level 6 spiritual lord magical beast. The others nodded as well. Feng Wu suddenly spoke just as the others were about to leave. Ling Hao, if you don't want to die, stay where you are. Everyone looked at her. Yihan snapped at her. Feng Wu, what's that supposed to mean? Are you saying that my antidote doesn't work on Ling Hao? Feng Wu turned her cold gaze on Yihan. Because no one's life had been in danger before, Feng Wu couldn't be bothered to talk to her and had let Yihan play her petty tricks. However, she was serious now. Her glare made Yihan jump. Feng Wu, what are you talking about? Feng Wu's stare made Ling Hao uneasy. Feng Wu said coldly, "The toxin has reached your heart. You say you haven't been poisoned? Don't be stupid." "What? How's that possible? Didn't Yi Han say?" "Ouch. My chest hurts." Ling Hao pressed his hands to his chest, crouched down and curled up on the ground. Xiao Xiao glared at Yi Han. "Didn't you say the toxin has been neutralized?" Yi Han trembled. "I already did it," Xiao Xiao said. "Does he look like he's alright?" Yi Han panicked. "I," Xiao Xiao said, "help him." Yi Han said, "Of course." Just then, a greenish creature jumped into sight. "It's the magic vine beast. Watch out. Wang Ji, attack." Xiao Xiao charged at the beast. Qing Fong hadn't recovered from his previous injury, and Ling Hao was poisoned. Xiao Xiao believed that he and Wang Ji were the only two people who could fight the beast. However, things went from bad to worse. Xiao Xiao realized something in despair. The magic vine beast has evolved. It's a level 6 spiritual lord now. Chapter 2657, Who's Your Boss? Chapter 2657, Who's Your Boss? The others all went pale when they heard that. How can it be a level 6 spiritual lord? That's a Class A beast. We're not Class A students. How are we supposed to fight it? Run! Yi Han was the first to try and run. They heard some whooshing sounds. More magic vine beasts appeared, surrounding the team. 1, 2, 3, 4. They no longer bothered to disguise themselves with their green vines and leaves. Instead, they stood up and faced all the students. "Holy crap!" everyone cried out. There were more of them. In the end, they were surrounded by a dozen magic vine beasts. Yi Han almost fainted. As if one magic vine beast wasn't enough to make them despair, there were 12 of them. They had never felt so full of despair before. What should we do now? Yi Han was so scared that she hid behind Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao was ghastly pale as well. However, he was the team leader, and everyone was counting on him. If he panicked, the others would fall apart as well. "Don't panic. There must be a way out of here." Xiao Zhao's voice trembled as he tried to calm the others. "Stay calm. They won't eat us." However, they saw that the beasts were slowly approaching them with hungry looks in their eyes. They were closing in. The vines on the beasts' backs turned toward the students and kept spitting out the green liquid. The venom was so potent that everyone turned pale. "I don't want to die," Yi Han broke down. She was the first to break. "I don't want to die. Help us." However, the beasts wouldn't let them go just because of her tears. On the contrary, they turned toward Yi Han and spat more liquid on her. Yi Han was covered with it. She screamed in fear. The others weren't doing much better. They had all turned a dark green shade. Xiao Xiao ground his teeth. "If we're going to die anyway, let's kill as many of them as possible before we're gone. Attack!" He struck first. Huashan stopped Feng Wu. In fact, he had been shielding Feng Wu this whole time and even took off his robe for her. "Feng Wu, you go first," Huashan said affirmatively. "I'll hold them off for you. Run." Feng Wu patted him on the shoulder. "Move aside. I know what to do." But Huashan didn't believe her. He believed that Feng Wu was far weaker than he was and needed his protection. "No, I won't," Huashan insisted. "I told you to leave, so just leave." Feng Wu asked, "Why won't you leave?" Huashan was on the brink of tears. "What good will it do if I get out alive? My boss's boss will eat me alive. Compared with that, I'd rather die here." Feng Wu said, "Who's that?" Chapter 2658, Feng Wu Yu. Chapter 2658. Feng Wu Yu. Feng Wu said, "Who's that?" Huashan said, "You know who I'm talking about." Feng Wu didn't know what to say. She honestly didn't know who it was, but there was no time for chit-chat. Everything happened in a split second. She grabbed Huashan by the back of his collar and yanked him backward. The others weren't as lucky and were under attack by the magic vine beasts. The beasts sprayed the venom at the humans at first, but when they saw how weak their targets were, they turned the vines into sharp weapons. Whoosh! Each beast chose a human target. The vines reached out and immediately wrapped around the student. Ah! Yihan screamed. The vine wrapped her up from her neck to her ankles. Before long, she would be strangled. Help me! I don't want to die. The realization made Yihan turn ghastly pale. Xiao Xiao and the others weren't doing any better. There was little they could do when facing Class A magic vine beasts. It seemed that they were about to be annihilated. Feng Wu made a move. No one saw what she did, but when they realized what had happened, she had ripped off the vine wrapped around Huashan with her bare hands. That was right. She didn't use any weapons. She just tugged, and the vine fell apart. Feng Wu then went to Ling Hao and pulled the vine off him before doing the same to the rest of the team. She didn't use a knife or fire. She simply pulled the vines. She didn't try to untie the vines. Instead, she just quickly flitted around as if she were dancing. The others didn't know what she was doing. By the time they realized it, they were free from the vines. That wasn't all. Feng Wu was still holding all the vines, and Ling Hao counted. There were 12 in her hands. That was to say, she was holding on to all the magic vine beasts. His gaze followed the vines back to the beasts. It was incredible. The rampaging beasts all looked defeated. They crouched on the ground and didn't dare move. The vines were now wrapped around their neck. It seemed that Feng Wu would tug the vines and strangle all of them if they didn't behave. Ling Hao couldn't believe his eyes. He looked from the beasts to Feng Wu. Feng Wu, you! The others saw it as well. Xiao Xiao was equally excited. Feng Wu! These were Class A magic vine beasts, and Feng Wu was controlling all 12 of them. Xiao Xiao never knew such a thing was possible. Feng Wu nodded at her teammates before ordering the 12 magic vine beasts, "Move closer." One of the beasts tried to fight back. Feng Wu tugged at it, and the vine tightened around the beast's neck. "Thena Euro!" The beast squeaked. Chapter 2659, My Face Hurts. Chapter 2659, My Face Hurts. One beast squeaked. The other magic vine beasts glared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu raised her hands, threatening to do the same to the others. Magic vine beasts were intelligent beasts, and they immediately lowered their heads when Feng Wu threatened them. The team members didn't know what to say. Why did these magic vine beasts remind them of monkeys in a circus? After being disciplined, the beasts obediently walked up to Feng Wu and crouched down in a circle around her. Feng Wu handed the vines to Xiao Xiao. "They're all yours." Xiao Xiao's eyes lit up. However, the vines snapped as soon as he held them in his hand. The beasts severed the vines from their bodies and bolted. They had abandoned the vines. They had to leave the vines behind to stay alive. Xiao Xiao was astonished. The others were equally shocked and shouted, "Watch out! Get them!" However, they were once more amazed by Feng Wu. Ground control. Feng Wu activated that stance. All the beasts were frozen on the spot. They weren't going anywhere. Die! Seeing this, Xiao Xiao gave the command. The others knew that this was going to be their only chance. Xiao Xiao, Ling Hao, and even Yi Han started attacking the beasts. The Class A magic vine beasts had much thicker skin that was hard to cut through. The students had no choice but to keep chopping. Luckily, Feng Wu had trapped these beasts in place. Otherwise, they would never be able to break through their defense. Phew! By the time they cut through the skin, 5 minutes had passed. They dug out the crystal cores of all 12 beasts. Xiao Xiao let out a breath of relief and told Feng Wu, "Thank you, Feng Wu. You're the hero of the day." Yi Han was so jealous that she thought she was going to lose her mind. Big deal. It's just ground control. Yi Han, Wang Ji scolded her. Big deal. Other people might not have seen what happened, but Wang Ji had seen everything. Feng Wu had controlled a dozen magic vine beasts on her own, which was even more difficult to do than killing them. It was impossible to know how capable she was. The only thing Wang Ji knew for sure was that Feng Wu was good enough to go to Class A. He wouldn't let Yi Han disrespect such a genius. Yi Han was furious when she saw that Wang Ji was also siding with Feng Wu. However, she didn't dare say another word. My face hurts so much. Ling Hao was thrilled after killing 2 beasts. He was about to show off to Feng Wu when he felt the pain on his face. It wasn't just his face. My chest hurts a lot too. His words seemed contagious. The others put their hands on their chests and cried out in pain as well. My chest hurts too. What's going on? It's the magic vine beasts. Have you forgotten? Their juice is poisonous. It's so itchy too. Stop it. You're only making it worse. Help, help. Everyone rolled around on the ground from the pain and the itchiness. Yi Han, Yi Han. Finally, they recalled that Yi Han was with them. She was a physician. Chapter 2660, Why Are You Alright? Chapter 2660, Why Are You Alright? She was a physician. She was supposed to be a master-level medicine refiner. Yi Han, help us! Yi Han, aren't you a master-level medicine refiner? Yi Han, didn't you say that you can help us? Yi Han's stomach lurched. Yes, she was a master-level medicine refiner. No, she hadn't become one yet. She was far from being capable enough to handle such venom. She was also poisoned and rolling around on the ground. Stop shouting. Can't you hear that Yi Han is the loudest? Given her condition, she can't possibly help us, said Qingfang. Ling Hao said, didn't she brag about how her pills can neutralize any toxin? Yi Han was in such agony that her face was scarlet red. She muttered, Qingfang's right. Those are Class A magic vine beasts. I'm only a master. How am I supposed to do anything about their venom? She said righteously, you can't count on me for everything. Even Shan Jingfei wouldn't be able to do anything about this. Everyone went silent. What Yi Han said made them lose all hope. Are you saying that we'll stay poisoned like this? We can't even walk. We can't go back to campus when we're like this. We don't have anything we can use to send a signal. Are we all going to die here? We're all poisoned. We can't even stand up. Ling Hao's voice was filled with pain. Suddenly, they noticed the shadows of 2 people on the ground. They belonged to Feng Wu and Huashan. Feng Wu is still standing. She's not poisoned. Everyone looked at Feng Wu in amazement. You're not poisoned. Feng Wu nodded. That's right. Ling Hao then looked at Huashan and was even more shocked. Huashan should have been poisoned. I saw it. He was splattered with the venom. Look, his robe is still green. Ling Hao pointed at Huashan. Why is he still standing? Is he all right? Whoosh. Practically all eyes were on Huashan. Huashan, do you feel all right? Yup, said Huashan. Aren't you in pain? Huashan shook his head. Any itchiness? Nope, said Huashan. Ling Hao was baffled. But why? You should have been poisoned. Huashan was equally confused. I have no idea. He then popped something into his mouth. What are you eating? It's candy. Boss Feng Wu gave it to me, Huashan said proudly. Show me. Ling Hao struggled to sit up and took the so-called candy. He was surprised by what he saw. Do you call this candy? Feng Wu frowned a little because she heard the sounds of fighting a short distance away. I'll be right back. With that, she dashed off. However, the others only cared about Huashan's candy right now. Ling Hao sniffed the candy and noticed something. Why does it smell like a pill? He was perplexed. Xiao Xiao took it in his hand. Candy? That's obviously a pill. And it's a Grandmaster level one. It's an antidote especially for magical plants. Chapter 2661 Enraged. Chapter 2661 Enraged. Xiao Xiao finally recognized the pill. It's an antidote that can neutralize the toxins of all kinds of magical plants, and it smells so much more potent than what you can buy from the academy. Why do you call it candy? Huashan said, It's candy because Boss Feng Wu told me so. Grandmaster level antidotes were crazy expensive, and the price of a panacea would be exorbitant. As a result, no one could bring themselves to buy such a pill for an event like this. However, Huashan was eating these pills as if they were candy. Do you have more? Give me some. Everyone asked Huashan for the pills. Soon, they ate up what was left in Huashan's hands. Even Yi Han jumped at the opportunity, and she was much fiercer than the others. She even scratched Huashan's face in the process. After taking the antidote, they soon realized that the itchiness was going away and they weren't in so much pain anymore. To carry so many pills on her, Feng Wu must be wealthy. Ling Hao glanced at Yi Han as he spoke. The so-called master medicine refiner's pills were nowhere near as effective as Feng Wu's antidote. Yi Han wouldn't accept it. I'm a master medicine refiner. She just bought the pills. She can't possibly be at my level. Huashan glanced at Yi Han and snorted. Boss Feng Wu said she made the pills herself. Yi Han snorted. And you believe her? These are Grandmaster-level pills. Do you think she's a Grandmaster medicine refiner? You must be dreaming. Huashan glanced at Yi Han. Why is it so unbelievable? If you ask me, Boss Feng Wu can be a supreme medicine refiner. Yi Han laughed so hard that she almost coughed blood. A supreme medicine refiner? Don't make me laugh. That's ridiculous. Yi Han. Xiao Xiao gave her a stern look. Although he didn't believe that Feng Wu was a grandmaster either, her pills had saved them all, and he had to be grateful. Yi Han smirked. For someone who acts so arrogantly, you sure grabbed the pill quick enough. Huashan glared at Yi Han. If you say one more bad thing about Boss Feng Wu, I'll have you spit out the pill. Yi Han was shocked. She stared at Huashan and couldn't believe how stubborn the man was. I'll repay you with my points when we get back. Yi Han snorted. Huashan said, You would be dead by now if you could only buy the antidote after you got back to campus. Yi Han said, What on earth do you want? Huashan said, You'll need to pay back at least 10 times what you owe. Yi Han trembled with anger. Huashan, you're going too far. Huashan said, You deserve it. That's what you get for saying bad things about Boss Feng Wu. The squabbling was giving Xiao Xiao a headache. Stop right there. We'll talk about compensation after we get back. The hunt is the most important thing right now. The 12 crystal cores were on the ground. Xiao Xiao opened his mouth. No one could deny the fact that Feng Wu was the only reason that they were able to obtain them. Without her, not only would they have lost the crystal cores, they would also have been eradicated. I'll keep those. Yi Han wanted to grab the crystal cores. Wait. Huashan was displeased. Are you our team member? Didn't you see who obtained them for us? You were saying bad things about my boss only a minute ago, and now, you're trying to steal her achievements? You're so shameless. Yi Han was so angry that her face twisted. Chapter 2662 Team Xueqing. Chapter 2662 Team Xueqing. Feng Wu rushed toward the noise. Soon, she saw that a team was being chased by a magical beast. She searched her memory and recalled that she had seen one in the illustrated handbook which the school gave to students. It was a fire snow lion. It was a giant beast that was the size of a small house when it stood on its hind legs. How intimidating! It left deep footprints in the ground. Thump! 5 people were running away from it. They were of average height, but the lion was so huge that they looked like ants in comparison. Hongxue, run! 4 teenage boys ran in the front and a girl was at the back. It seemed that the lion was going to trample Hongxue, and everyone panicked. The teenagers panicked and shouted at her, trying to urge her on. However, Hongxue was exhausted and she said, "You guys go ahead. I'll cover you." Since she couldn't get away, she would die bravely and give her teammates a chance to live. Hongxue drew out her sword and turned to face the lion. Feng Wu admired her courage. However, Hongxue wasn't competent enough to be the lion's match. She had just become a level 6 spiritual lord, but the lion was a level 6 spiritual lord already. That made the lion equivalent to a human level 7 spiritual lord at their peak. Hongxue was doomed. "Yi Hongxue!" The second last boy cried out and made a choice which surprised Feng Wu. He doubled back to help Yi Hongxue fight the lion. Feng Wu's eyes lit up. She recalled an old joke about 2 people running into a bear. One said to the other, "I don't need to outrun the bear. I just need to outrun you." She saw real friendship in this team. Feng Wu wanted to intervene, but at that moment, the other 3 teenagers turned around and joined their teammates. Yi Hongxue cried out, "Junqing, why did you come back? Run!" Lin Junqing was covered with blood and he was heavily injured in the stomach, but he gritted his teeth. "We can't leave you behind. We'll live and die together." The other 3 chimed in, "We're not going anywhere." Yi Hongxue had tears in her eyes. "Don't be stupid. You need to get away while there's still a chance." Lin Junqing smiled. "Peace Grassland was so dangerous and our team survived it. We won't abandon you now. Let's just kill this lion." Junqing is right. We'll stick together no matter what. We'll leave no one behind. Shuehao nodded. The other 2 nodded as well and joined the battle without another word. Seeing how united they were, Feng Wu hid behind a tree and didn't interfere immediately. Thump, thump, thump. The 5 teenagers fought the giant lion together. Feng Wu noticed the letter A on their armbands. It seemed that this team called Xueqing belonged to Class A. Chapter 2663 The Girl Who Came Out of Nowhere. Chapter 2663 The Girl Who Came Out of Nowhere. Feng Wu had heard that even the weakest students in Class A were level 6 spiritual lord. However, the lion was so ferocious that the 5 people couldn't hold it back. Yi Hongxue was smart. She winked at her teammates, and they soon created a formation in the shape of a star. Feng Wu nodded. That formation could amplify a cultivator's capability by 50% and was very helpful with killing move. The lion was powerful, but with the amplification, the team could take it down. It was incredible. Together, the 5 members soon suppressed the lion. Everyone thought they would soon kill the beast, but it suddenly went berserk. It was like a wildfire. Surging flames almost touched the sky. The lion roared. The sound wave and the flames threw all 5 team members off balance. They lost all hope. At such a critical moment, the lion had gone berserk. "Run!" Shuehao, the team leader, shouted at the top of his lungs. But where to? Everywhere they turned, there were flames and heavy smoke. The lion's energy had them trapped as if they were in a cage. They froze on the spot and couldn't move a muscle. The lion was furious. The team had blinded it in the right eye with the formation, and countless tiny bloody cuts covered its body. However, the lion was enormous, and the wounds couldn't affect it in the slightest when it was in this berserk state. The lion was an intelligent beast. The magic vine beasts were only Class B, but they were already so intelligent, let alone a Class A lion. There was a malicious look in its eyes as it stomped on the ground. Flames filled the pit, and there were sparks everywhere. Yi Hongxue was the closest to the lion. Hongxue, run! Her teammates shouted. Yi Hongxue tried to run away, but she couldn't move a finger, let alone rise to her feet. The lion was already in front of her. It raised its giant paw. No! The team members screamed. We survived Peace Grassland, are we going to be killed by a beast now? So many of our friends died, and we only killed a few Dongseng soldiers. I don't want to die now. I want to kill more enemies. No matter what they thought, the lion wouldn't spare their lives now. The lion roared and charged at the team. It was going to trample Yi Hongxue. It was going to trample all 5 humans. Feng Wu made her move when the 5 people lost all hope. No one saw how she did it. The giant lion simply fell to the ground. The impact sent sparks and ash flying. The air was filled with dust. Yi Hongxue stared at their savior in disbelief. The girl wore a red dress and was more beautiful than anyone she had ever met. Chapter 2664 Incredible Feng Wu. Chapter 2664 Incredible Feng Wu. Feng Wu pressed the lion to the ground as soon as she joined the battle. The others looked at her in amazement. What just happened? Yi Hongxue was the closest, so she was the most astonished. She watched as Feng Wu jumped into the circle and kicked the lion to the ground. Are you all right? Feng Wu asked Yi Hongxue. Yi Hongxue shook her head. Feng Wu then turned to the lion, which had scrambled to its feet. It glared at Feng Wu and bared its teeth. It raised its head, growled and charged at Feng Wu. Watch out! The members of Xueqing team cried out in unison. However, Feng Wu kicked the lion again before it could touch her. Thump! The lion flew backward again. This time, the lion made a perfect arch in the air before it hit the ground. Its body continued skidding over the ground after it landed, stirring up dust. Sparks flew everywhere. Finally, things quieted down. The dust cleared. The sparks died down. The team saw what had become of the lion. It had been so proud and fierce before, but it was in such a messy state now. Its giant body sprawled over the ground, and its limbs were too weak to support its massive body. Blood oozed out from countless holes in its body. Smoke rose from its charred skin. It could barely keep its eyes open. Although its eyes were filled with hatred, the lion couldn't stand up no matter how hard it tried. Everybody could see that the life was swiftly leaving its body. In the end, it closed its eyes and never opened them again. Xue Hao cautiously approached the lion to ensure that it was really dead. He turned around and looked at Feng Wu in amazement. Xueqing team also stared at Feng Wu in disbelief. That was incredible. One kick. She had just kicked the lion, and it fell down and died. Who was this girl in red? Xue Hao wanted to ask her who she was. However, Feng Wu only glanced at them. Seeing that Yi Hongxue was severely injured, she crouched down next to the girl, and her fingertips glowed with green light. The green light fell on Yi Hongxue, and she was healed as everyone watched. Feng Wu rose to her feet, nodded to Yi Hongxue, and walked away. Miss! Xue Hao called after Feng Wu. But Feng Wu didn't look back and soon disappeared into the woods. The team was speechless. It took Xue Hao forever to realize what had happened. Was she even human? Of course she was. What do you think she was? A ghost? No, I mean, she was like a goddess. Xue Hao said excitedly. What should I do? I think I'm in love. Yi Hongxue rolled her eyes at him. I think you should ask for permission first. Yi Hongxue, you can stand up. Chapter 2665 Telling the Truth. Chapter 2665 Telling the Truth. Yi Hongxue, you're on your feet. Xue Hao stared at his friend in disbelief. The lion had wounded Yi Hongxue so badly that she had been lying on the ground and bleeding out before Feng Wu came. Your wounds are no longer bleeding, the other team members observed. Yi Hongxue nodded. It's not just that. My wounds have almost healed. How? Oh my God! That girl is a supreme-level medicine refiner. Only a supreme-level medicine refiner could emit the green light. Medicine refiners below that level could only make pills to treat patients. If I'm guessing correctly, she's a medicine refiner who is at least at the supreme level, Yi Hongxue said in admiration. Xuehao said, not only that, she also kicked away the lion. The others nodded. Xuehao said, what do you think her level is? Lin Junqing said, she has to be a level 7 spiritual lord at least. Yi Hongxue shook her head. I've fought level 7 spiritual lords before, and she feels more powerful than that. Her teammates fell quiet. If that's the case, how powerful must she be? The others shook their heads in amazement. She saved our lives, and we should be forever grateful for it, Yi Hongxue said earnestly. With her capability and medical skills, she'll definitely stand out in the academy. We'll find out who she is as soon as we ask around. We left the academy for just 6 months, and such an amazing student showed up. How odd. Feng Wu went back to her team after helping Xueqing team. After all, she was going to help her team become first. She needed the reward. When she got back, Yi Han shouted at her. Feng Wu, what's wrong with you? Why did you leave us at the most dangerous moment? Huashan shouted back at Yi Han before Feng Wu could say anything. Huashan said, just because you're a woman doesn't mean I won't hit you. Say one more bad thing about Xiao Wu, and I won't be so nice. Yi Han said, what did I do? Was I wrong? Huashan said, first of all, Xiao Wu left only after she killed a dozen magic vine beasts all by herself. She also left us the antidote beforehand, and all of you took some. You! Don't you know the saying that a guest shouldn't speak ill of their host? After everything she's done for you, you've shown her no gratitude at all. You! Is Xiao Wu your nanny? She has no obligation to protect you. You! Who the hell do you think you are? How dare you talk to Boss Xiao Wu like that? You! Stop with the you already. Spit out the antidote. You ungrateful bastard. Yi Han was so angry that she almost fainted. She stared at Xiao Xiao. Aren't you going to say something? What could Xiao Xiao say? Huashan's words were harsh, but he was telling the truth. Xiao Xiao said in resignation, Yi Han, if you're uncomfortable staying with us, why don't you? Chapter 2666. Why are you on Feng Wu's side? Chapter 2666. Why are you on Feng Wu's side? Was he telling her to leave? Yi Han stared at Xiao Xiao in disbelief. Xiao Xiao, what's that supposed to mean? Xiao Xiao looked her in the eye. Yi Han said, fine, none of you like me. I'll go. Happy? She started walking away. Duanmu Hua looked from Yi Han to Xiao Xiao, but he didn't say anything in the end and only followed Yi Han. His teammates weren't pleased. A girl named Su Xiu frowned and muttered, why is she so willful? However, they were still on the same team, so the other team members had no choice but to follow their leader. They didn't try to hide their reluctance. No one spoke for a while after Yi Han was gone, and everyone felt somewhat embarrassed. Qing Fang wanted to say something to Feng Wu, but kept his silence in the end. Yi Han was his friend, but Feng Wu had saved him twice. He would have to be an utterly ungrateful person to turn against Feng Wu now. Are we going to let Yi Han go just like that? Qing Fang asked Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao said coldly, Yi Han was a proud person before, but she was at least reasonable. You've seen what she's like with Xiao Wu. We can't reason with her anymore. Ling Hao nodded. We didn't drive her away. She left voluntarily. It's not like we could have begged her to stay, right? Wang Ji nodded. She's not even on the same team with us anymore. Qing Fang stared at his teammates in disbelief. Why are you all on Feng Wu's side? He glanced at Feng Wu as he spoke. Because Feng Wu had saved his life, he couldn't openly oppose her, which frustrated him. At least Yi Han is a master-level medicine refiner, Qing Fong mumbled. We would be much safer with her on our side. Forget it. A master-level medicine refiner? She was just bragging. What did she do when we were attacked by the magic vine beast? We'd all be dead if it hadn't been for Xiao Wu. Qing Fong, use your brain. Ling Hao glowered at Qing Fong. Qing Fong said, But Yi Han is an actual physician, and Feng Wu was just lucky. She just happened to have the right medicine on her. Ling Hao didn't want to waste his breath on Qing Fong. I see Xiao Wu saved you for nothing. Qing Fong said, I'm only telling the truth. Plus, I'm only concerned about the safety of our team. That's enough. Stop fighting. Xiao Xiao intervened. We have a choice to make. Be quiet and listen to me. The others all looked at him. Xiao Xiao said, We now have the crystal core of an advanced Class B magical beast and a dozen crystal cores of peak-level Class B magical beasts. Our team should be in second or third place. But the hunt will only end in 3 days, so we have a choice to make. Should we be content with what we already have and go back to school, or should we keep hunting? The question got the others thinking. Wang Ji said, We've already obtained the biggest achievement we've ever made. Our team has never been in the top 3 before. We'll receive satisfactory rewards if we go back now. Ling Hao said, That's right. Normally, we should be happy with making it into the top 3. However, why are we here? Are we really going to stop now? Chapter 2667 To Tell You the Truth. Chapter 2667 To Tell You the Truth. Ling Hao said, Do you think the school sent us here just to hunt magical beasts? I think they want us to train in actual battle. Once we join Class A, we'll see a real battlefield. Wang Ji nodded. The dangers we've seen here in Thousand Nights Forest are nothing compared with the battlefield. No one can get out unscratched. Ling Hao said, If we're lucky, maybe we can get first place. In your dreams. Xiao Xiao was in disbelief. Top 3 is already a miracle for us. First? Who are you kidding? Everyone else nodded. Qing Fong said, So, does everyone agree that we'll keep fighting? Xiao Xiao hesitated for a while before he looked at Feng Wu. Feng Wu, what do you think? Immediately, all eyes were on Feng Wu. Feng Wu had already made up her mind. She didn't care what place the team got, but she needed to be the best student. She said, I suggest you guys go back first. Ling Hao spoke before Xiao Xiao could say anything. Feng Wu, are you afraid? Do you want to retreat? Feng Wu shook her head. No, I don't. Then what do you mean? Feng Wu met his eyes. Do you want the truth? Ling Hao said, Spare me the crap. I don't have time for this. Tell me the truth. Feng Wu said, The truth can be harsh. Ling Hao patted his chest and said proudly, I'm a tough man. I can take it. Feng Wu nodded, looked around and casually said, You're too weak. Ling Hao coughed. That was some harsh truth. Not only Ling Hao, but Xiao Xiao and the others also flushed in embarrassment. Feeling resentful, Qing Fong snapped at Feng Wu, Just because you saved us doesn't give you the right to say such arrogant things. Feng Wu shook her head. I'm only stating a fact. Qing Fong was mortified by that statement. Taking a deep breath, he said, Are you saying you're so much better than us? What level are you, then? The others looked at Feng Wu, also curious about her cultivation level. Feng Wu smiled. I could fight a dozen magic vine beasts with my bare hands. The harsh truth once more. And I was far from reaching my limit, Feng Wu added. That was brutal. Qing Fong wanted to retort, but he couldn't deny that Feng Wu was telling the truth. He hated to admit it, but Feng Wu had indeed had 12 magic vine beasts under her control. That was far more impressive than killing them. You! Wang Ji calmed down and asked Feng Wu, What's your plan? Feng Wu looked back at him. What do you think my plan is? Being the most intelligent team member, Wang Ji realized something. Do you want to get first place? You want the top prize, don't you? You must be out of your mind. Cheng Fang shouted at Feng Wu before she could say anything. There's no way you can get that prize. It's been determined beforehand. Whoosh! All eyes were on Cheng Fang. What was that supposed to mean? Chapter 2668 Dynasty Team. Chapter 2668 Dynasty Team. Realizing that he had said the wrong thing, Cheng Fang looked away and pretended that he didn't know anything. Cheng Fang, do you know something we don't? Xiao Xiao stared at him. Cheng Fang wouldn't answer the question. Wang Ji frowned a little. I recall that your brother is in Class A, and he's a member of the seeded team. Cheng Fang shook his head. I don't know anything about that. Please stop asking me. I can't tell you anything. It only confirmed that what he had said was true. His teammates didn't like the sound of that at all. Xiao Xiao frowned. As far as I know, the leader of the seeded team is Chen Ziyun, the president of the Martial Arts Society. Has he already chosen a candidate? Is it Shan Jingfei? Wang Ji looked at Cheng Fang. Cheng Fang said coldly, Don't ask me. I can't tell you anything. The others took his answer for a yes. Is Chen Ziyun in love with Shan Jingfei? Ling Hao asked curiously. Wang Ji shook his head. Chen Ziyun isn't that type of person. Qiu Ziyu is more likely to do something like that. Ling Hao asked, Qiu Ziyu? As in the second best student in the seeded team? Wang Ji said, I saw Qiu Ziyu taking walks with Shan Jingfei before. Xiao Xiao glanced at Wang Ji. Wang Ji was a discreet person. He wouldn't have said something like that if those two people had really just been walking together. He must have seen something else. Wang Ji nodded when he saw the look in Xiao Xiao's eyes. Xiao Xiao shrugged. He had probably guessed correctly. Forget about first place then, Xiao Xiao told Feng Wu. Let's go back. Feng Wu said, You guys go ahead. Xiao Xiao said sincerely, Feng Wu, you have to accept the fact that we can't get first place. Feng Wu asked why. Xiao Xiao lowered his voice. That spot has probably been determined in advance. You can't win, no matter how hard you try. Feng Wu smiled. Is it because of that Qiu Ziyu you mentioned just then? There was silence. Feng Wu was still smiling. He won't be a problem. Huashan agreed. Qiu Ziyu was nothing. Feng Wu's backer was a much more influential person. However, Xiao Xiao and the others didn't know what Huashan knew, so they only found Feng Wu stubborn. Feng Wu, you probably don't know what it means to be a member of the seeded team. Xiao Xiao tried to explain to her. We're only in Class B, so the team is normally beyond our reach. You've only just joined us. Understandably, you don't know what an intricate matter this is. Here's the thing. Members of the seeded team are the most capable students in the entire academy. Seeded team isn't its official name. It's called Dynasty Team. Feng Wu was surprised. Dynasty Team? Are they actually allowed to use that name? Xiao Xiao smiled bitterly. If you know who the team's founder is, you'll understand where that name came from. The person who founded the first Dynasty Team was His Royal Highness, said Xiao Xiao. I think you know who that is. Many years had passed since the engagement between Feng Wu and the Crown Prince was said to have been annulled. Most people had forgotten about it. Chapter 2669 Never Give Up. Chapter 2669 Never Give Up. However, Zhuo Qingluan had deliberately brought it up again, and many people remembered the incident once more. Xiao Xiao and the others gave Feng Wu sympathetic looks. Huashan was so angry that he wanted to jump to his feet. What the hell? Feng Wu was still engaged to the Crown Prince, and the Crown Prince had ordered Chen Ziyun to keep her safe. Xiao Xiao and his teammates knew nothing. Xiao Xiao didn't notice Huashan's frustration, and he went on with his explanation. Dynasty team consists of 10 members, 5 of whom are official members and 5 who are backup members. The last Dynasty team was incredible. Because both His Royal Highness and young Lord Feng were members of the team, no one else dared to put up a fight. As a result, Imperial College became the best school in the Empire. However, the team's strength has been on the decline ever since the old members graduated. Of course, that's only in comparison with its heyday. Imperial College is still better than other schools. A member of the team was severely wounded in Peace Grassland and almost died. Because of that, there's currently an open slot in the team. To ensure that the right person is chosen for the team, the school is recruiting 2 students. Although the candidates will become backup members, many people of Class A are competing for that opportunity. Class B ordinarily wouldn't have the opportunity. If I'm guessing correctly, Qiu Ziyu must have requested that quota for Shan Jingfei. He must have pulled a lot of strings. He looked Feng Wu in the eye. Why don't we give up on that quota? The other team members looked at Feng Wu as well. It was supposed to be Shan Jingfei's big moment, and Feng Wu should know when to quit. However, Feng Wu smiled. Giving up has never been an option for me. What? Are you going to stay in the game? Ling Hao couldn't believe his ears. She might look like a fragile and tender girl, but she was more formidable than anyone could imagine. She was almost glowing when she said she refused to give up. It was unbelievably attractive. She told the others, "You guys can go back first. Just don't hand in the task yet." She walked away after that. Meanwhile, Yihan thought Xiao Xiao would stop her when she walked away. After all, she used to be the center of the team, and the members doted on her. However, no one said anything even after she dawdled and walked as slowly as she could. She was furious. She resented Xiao Xiao and the others for not helping her, but most of her hatred was directed toward Feng Wu. It was all because of Feng Wu. Feng Wu had replaced her. Feng Wu had stolen the spotlight. Feng Wu had taken everything. She hated Feng Wu so much. Yi Han. Seeing that Yi Han was in a bad mood, Duanmu Hua tried to comfort her. "Don't talk to me." Yi Han gave him a dirty look before walking away. "Yi Han, where are you going?" Duanmu Hua called after her. Yi Han shouted, "Leave me alone!" She quickly marched away. Her actions hurt Duanmu Hua's feelings. Chapter 2670 Shan Jingfei's Team. Chapter 2670 Shan Jingfei's Team. Duanmu. Su Siyu, one of the team members, stomped her foot. "She doesn't even like you. All she does is order you around, and you're still all over her." Grinding his teeth, Duanmu Hua still wanted to chase after Yi Han. Su Siyu said, "She's obviously using you to make Xiao Zhao's team jealous. When she couldn't do that, she found you a burden and abandoned you. Yet here you are, still trying to get her back." "Shut up!" Duanmu Hua bellowed at Su Siyu. Su Siyu lost her temper. "I know you're angry, but I'm still going to say it. As outsiders, we can see that Feng Wu is the reasonable one, while Yi Han keeps making outrageous requests. She's not trustworthy." Duanmu Hua looked like someone had stepped on his foot. "Shut up!" Su Siyu smirked. "Shut up? Why do you think you can talk to me in that way?" "Because you're our team leader." "Duanmu Hua, you're the team leader, but you don't own the position. You don't get to order us around. We're not courting your crush for you. You're only a team leader when we think you're a good fit for the job. Otherwise, you're nothing." Duanmu Hua said, "You." Su Siyu stared at Duanmu Hua and wouldn't be intimidated. She used to be an obedient team member and had never opposed him like this before. Duanmu Hua looked at the 2 other team members for recognition. However, they were also looking at him in anger and disappointment. Anger and disappointment. Duanmuhua went pale, as if he had been struck by lightning. He thought, what am I doing? These are my closest friends. Meanwhile, Yi Han was sure that Duanmuhua would try to persuade her to go back. However, after a while, she realized that Duanmuhua wasn't coming after her. Yi Han thought she was going to lose her mind. What was the matter with this world? Had she been abandoned by everyone? Feng Wu! Yi Han blamed Feng Wu for everything that had happened to her. She believed that if it hadn't been for Feng Wu, she would never have ended up like this. She wanted revenge. But how? Could any student in Class B defeat Feng Wu? Yi Han calmed down and started thinking. Driven by her hatred for Feng Wu, Yi Han actually came up with a feasible plan. Shan Jingfei. Yi Han smacked a tree. Shan Jingfei was the top student of Class B. Yi Han was confident that Shan Jingfei disliked Feng Wu. Her eyes glinted. She remembered the direction Shan Jingfei had left in, so she quickened her pace. It seemed luck was on her side. She actually ran into Shan Jingfei's team. Gu Xingyuan, Xian Jixuan and 2 other members were on Shan Jingfei's team. When she saw Shan Jingfei, Yi Han feigned an exhausted state and wailed. She fell to the ground and started rolling down the slope. Shan Jingfei's team soon spotted her. Their team was called Jingjing Team. Jingfei, I think I heard something. Xian Jixuan stuck out her head and saw a person rolling down the slope. Chapter 2671, Enemy's Enemy. Chapter 2671, Enemy's Enemy. Don't be distracted. Focus. We need to kill this magical beast first, Shan Jingfei said coldly. Other people saw Shan Jingfei as some innocent and kind girl, but Xian Jixuan knew better. Shan Jingfei was anything but that. She was cold and unsympathetic. It sounds like Yi Han, doesn't it? Xian Jixuan was going to ignore the noise until she saw who the person was. Just like Yi Han, Xian Jixuan didn't like Feng Wu either. She spotted an opportunity when Yi Han showed up. I'll be right back. Xian Jixuan dashed off before Shan Jingfei could say anything. She came back with Yi Han a few minutes later. Yi Han. By then, Shan Jingfei had killed the magical beast and was collecting the crystal core. Her first thought when she saw Yi Han was how sorry the latter looked. Yi Han's hair was unkempt and her disheveled clothes were covered with grass and dirt. She looked more wretched than a beggar. Was that really Yi Han? Because Yi Han used to be the only girl on her team, Xiao Xiao and the others had protected her well. Being the second most popular girl in class, Yi Han had always been proud of herself. She looked nothing like her old self now. Yi Han, what happened? Where's your team? Why aren't Xiao Xiao and the others with you? Xian Jixuan asked, feigning a concerned tone. The old Yi Han would never have shown her weak side to Shan Jingfei, but now she couldn't care about anything else. She burst into tears when she heard the question. Are you badly hurt? Where are your teammates? Xian Jixuan pretended to actually care about Yi Han. Yi Han cried even harder. They don't care about me anymore. Feng Wu is their new pet, and they'll do whatever she says. I don't have a place in that team anymore. Feng Wu! Xian Jixuan and Shan Jingfei didn't pay much attention to Yi Han until she mentioned that name. Gu Xingyuan also observed Yi Han. Shan Jingfei gave Xian Jixuan a warning look, and the latter nodded. Xian Jixuan asked Yi Han as she treated her wounds, Did Feng Wu chase you away? She seems nice. I can't believe she would do such a thing. Yi Han thought, what a lousy actor. She could tell that both Xian Jixuan and Shan Jingfei disliked Feng Wu. With that in mind, she thought she could work with these people. Yi Han was also pretending. Feng Wu is just so pretty, of course all the boys like her. Xiao Xiao used to be in love with Shan Jingfei, but he likes Feng Wu now. Shan Jingfei's face darkened. She didn't have feelings for Xiao Xiao, but the change in his attitude was a blow to her personal pride. Seeing Shan Jingfei's livid face, Yi Han was secretly delighted, but she still had to keep up her aggrieved expression, and she went on complaining. It's not just Xiao Xiao. Ling Hao, Wang Ji and Qing Fang are all the same. They're all over Feng Wu as if she's some kind of princess. Chapter 2672 Reputation. Chapter 2672 Reputation. Yi Han said, "Guess what? Feng Wu accepted all their kindness toward her. She's so. Xian Jixuan said, "So promiscuous?" Yes. Yi Han started trashing Feng Wu's reputation. She knew how vital reputation was to a young woman. Once that was destroyed, the woman would have nothing left. Other people would have scolded Yi Han for what she was doing. However, nearly everyone here was Feng Wu's enemy and couldn't wait to see her in distress. As a result, no one spoke up for Feng Wu, and they all gloated at her predicament. Seeing that no one objected, Yi Han went on. After saying a few more bad things about Feng Wu, she felt it was time to move on to the next subject. It's not that I don't want to fight her, but she's too powerful. How's that possible? Xian Jixuan asked incredulously. She's a new student, and you've been in Class B for a while. How can she be more capable? Yi Han smiled bitterly. Feng Wu took out 12 magical beasts all at once. Xian Jixuan said indifferently, "All the students in our class can handle 12 junior Class B magical beasts at the same time." No, they weren't junior ones, Yi Han said bitterly. They were all advanced magical beasts. No way. Xian Jixuan couldn't believe her ears. Yi Han wasn't telling the truth. They were actually peak-level Class B magical beasts. She feared that if she told the truth, Shan Jingfei wouldn't dare fight Feng Wu anymore. Yi Han nodded. They've collected at least a dozen crystal cores from advanced Class B magical beasts. How many do you have? Is that true? Xian Jixuan stared at her. Yi Han smirked. I was with them just then and saw it with my own eyes. Ask Duanmuhua if you don't believe me. They saw it too. Shan Jingfei's face darkened. Xian Jixuan also gave Shan Jingfei a knowing look because she was aware of the inside information. It had been determined in advance that Shan Jingfei would come out first in this hunt. Qiu Ziyu had said so himself. If Feng Wu came in first, Qiu Ziyu's effort would be wasted. I don't believe you. Xian Jixuan glanced at Yi Han. I'll ask the others. She then walked off. She came back an hour later. Shan Jingfei gave her a searching look. Xian Jixuan nodded solemnly. Shan Jingfei's face went livid. So Yi Han was telling the truth. Shan Jingfei felt conflicted. She should have anticipated it because Feng Wu had defeated her in front of all the tutors. After that, she knew she wasn't Feng Wu's match, but she had been trying to keep that information from everyone else. Xian Jixuan said tentatively, I think Feng Wu does have some talent. We may not be her match if we're on our own. Shan Jingfei nodded. I see. She walked into the woods after that. Xian Jixuan grew suspicious. That wasn't right. Shan Jingfei was too calm. She should have been astonished when she learned how capable Feng Wu really was. Chapter 2673 Deception. Chapter 2673 Deception. However, Shan Jingfei had calmly accepted the truth and walked away. That could only mean one thing. She already knew that Feng Wu was better than she was. But when had she started acting strange? When Xian Jixuan searched her memory, she realized in surprise that Shan Jingfei's behavior changed after Mr. Yang summoned her the day before Feng Wu came to Class B. How did Feng Wu get into Class B? She had to have defeated some existing members of the class. OMG! Xian Jixuan suddenly had a shocking realization. Could that person have been Shan Jingfei? It was hard to believe, but it was also the only possibility. Xian Jishuan almost couldn't contain her excitement in the short period that Shan Jingfei was away. If that was the case, she pretended she knew nothing when I mocked Feng Wu. She made me look like a clown. Xian Jishuan was furious, but she soon fought back her rage and looked as calm as she could manage. Shan Jingfei came back a few minutes later. She was smiling, light on her feet, and in a good mood. Xian Jishuan asked, Fei Fei, do you think it's possible that Feng Wu is more capable than you are? Shan Jingfei smiled. So what if she is? I'm not afraid of her. Was she admitting that Feng Wu was better than she was? Xian Jishuan didn't want to give up yet. Fei Fei, did Feng Wu get into Class B after she challenged you? She was trembling inwardly when she asked that question. Shan Jingfei's face darkened, and she scolded Xian Jishuan. Don't ask about things you don't understand. Xian Jishuan was disappointed. She knew Shan Jingfei well enough to see that the girl would have denied it already if it wasn't true. Xian Jishuan was angry from the embarrassment. She felt like a clown and flushed. Being as self-centered as always, Shan Jingfei didn't detect the change in her friend's mood. She was still immersed in complacency. Don't worry. I'll definitely be first this time. Yi Han's eyes lit up. Can you change the data in the system? Shan Jingfei rolled her eyes at Yi Han. If I could do that, do you think I would still be here? Of course, she wouldn't. Yi Han was disappointed. Shan Jingfei smirked. Qiu Ziyu will give me a hand. Is he coming here to help us? Xian Jishuan knew that Shan Jingfei talked to Qiu Ziyu via a communication device. The range of that device was limited to school grounds. Thousand Nights Forest was within that range. He's too busy to come out here, but he'll send someone. Shan Jingfei added, There's students of Class A. Yi Han looked at her in amazement. Students? More than one? Of course. Shan Jingfei said proudly. A Class A team is on a mission nearby, so Ziyu asked them to give me a hand. Qiu Ziyu cares so much about you. Yi Han said. Chapter 2674 Old Acquaintance. Chapter 2674 Old Acquaintance. Qiu Ziyu cares so much about you, Yi Han said. Shan Jingfei smiled and took it for granted. However, she didn't see the look on Xian Jishuan's face. Xian Jishuan lowered her head to hide the complicated feelings in her eyes. Soon, a 5-member team showed up. Hello, I'm Xue Hao, the team leader of Xueqing team. Xue Hao greeted Shan Jingfei with a smile. They would have gone back to school after they ran into the Berserk Lion, but thanks to Feng Wu's excellent medical skills, they were all in good shape now. Therefore, they accepted Qiu Ziyu's request when he gave them the mission via the communication device. Helping Shan Jingfei kill some magical beasts would be a piece of cake for the Class A students. Shan Jingfei was pleased to see them, and gave Yi Han an arrogant look. Yi Han had to stay humble around Shan Jingfei, so she fawned on the girl and showered her with praise. Shan Jingfei was delighted, but she tried to look modest. She then struck up a conversation with Xue Hao. The task for Xueqing team was straightforward. They were to help Shan Jingfei kill 24 peak-level Class B magical beasts. All Class A students could do that easily enough. I know a place where we can find peak-level Class B magical beasts, and there's a whole pack of them, Shan Jingfei told Xue Hao. They're purple rats. They're small but fast, and they can move underground. They'll be hard to catch. Xue Hao wanted to finish this mission as soon as possible and go back to look for the girl in the red dress, so he nodded without hesitation. Purple rats are junior class a magical beast. We hunt them all the time. Let's go. Xue Hao led his team in the direction of the rat. At that exact moment, Feng Wu was talking to her teammates. You guys can go back now. I'll hunt some more magical beasts here and get back before the hunt ends. We'll submit the task together. She knew she had to get first place. Xiao Xiao gave her a sympathetic look and was amazed by how stubborn she was. Let's vote then, said Xiao Xiao. Put up your hand if you want to stay here with Feng Wu. Whoosh! Huashan was the first to raise his hand. The second was Ling Hao. Ling Hao, are you sure? Qing Fong stared at him. Do you know where you're going? You may be headed for the advanced Class B region or even the Class A zone. Are you sure you can do it? Ling Hao chuckled. If it wasn't for Feng Wu, I would already be dead. I owe her my life. Ling Hao asked Qing Fong, what about you? Qing Fong frowned. I'm in bad shape. I need to go back and take some time to recover. Ling Hao understood. Qing Fong had always liked Yi Han, but Yi Han had been forced to leave this team. It was understandable that he felt conflicted about Feng Wu. In the end, Wang Ji and Xiao Xiao decided to leave. The 6 members were divided into 2 groups. They went their separate ways after they bid each other farewell, unaware of what was going to happen next. Chapter 2675 Encounter. Chapter 2675 Encounter. To their surprise, the ground started shaking when they were about to leave. They all lost their footing. What was going on? Everyone was shocked. The ground cracked open before they realized it. Fall back! Xiao Xiao shouted. He quickly jumped to one side. The others followed suit. However, the ground was opening up too fast. The cracks were opening up in all directions. Run, now! Everyone panicked and shouted. But they weren't quick enough. Human strength seemed so petty in comparison to the force of nature. Ah! Qing Fong screamed. He had been poisoned twice, so he was the weakest and slowest member of the team. As a result, he was the first to fall into the crevice when the ground opened up. Qing Fong! The other members of the team went pale and tried to grab him. But they were too late. They could hear Qing Fong scream as he fell. They didn't have time to weep because they weren't out of danger either. Not even close. More and more cracks were opening up. They weren't fast enough to outrun them all. Before long, another disaster took place. Help me! Ling Hao shouted. A vine appeared in Feng Wu's hand when Ling Hao fell. It immediately stretched out, wrapped around Ling Hao's wrist, and pulled him back up in a whoosh. Ling Hao was ghastly pale. Still in shock, he said to Feng Wu, "Feng Wu, thank you." However, he heard another scream before he could finish. Turning around, he saw Wang Ji. He panicked. Wang Ji was falling. In a split second, another vine wrapped around Wang Ji's waist. Ling Hao let out a breath of relief. But he wasn't relieved for too long because it was Xiao Zhao's turn. He began to fall. Ling Hao thought he was going to lose his mind. Feng Wu wasn't a spiritual king. She was already helping 2 people. There was no way that she could help a third one. He was sure that his team leader was going to die. Wang Ji felt the same. To their surprise, Feng Wu produced a third vine. It wrapped around Xiao Zhao's right ankle and pulled him back. The 3 boys let out breaths of relief and stared at Feng Wu in astonishment. How capable was she that she could stop all 3 of them from falling at the same time in a critical moment like this? They had always assumed that Feng Wu was only slightly better than they were. It was only now that they realized the disparity in their capabilities. Feng Wu, Xiao Xiao tried to say something. Feng Wu finally brought the 3 of them to a safer zone, where they stood on solid ground once more. However, you're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.